Chapter 6:11. Su Yiyan could tell that her grandfather was depressed. She smiled faintly and said, don't worry. I'll make you Yuxiang shredded pork later. I guarantee it'll taste better than any fish. Yuxiang shredded pork? Grandpa Cheng was stunned. Shredded pork made from fish? No, Yuxiang shredded pork doesn't use fish. It uses pork. You'll know in a while. Su Yiyan held Grandpa Cheng's hand as they walked inside. Grandpa Cheng was comforted by Su Yiyan, and his anger finally subsided. So what if these old men had fish? He had a granddaughter who cared about him. Really? Then I'll have to try it. Also, the braised food you asked someone to send over last time was delicious. Okay, I'll make it for you later. But you can't eat too much at once. You'll get heaty. Okay. Grandpa will listen to you. I'll listen to you. Cheng Juanhao looked at their backs and chuckled. In our family only Yan can coax Dad. Qin Shueru held her stomach and walked inside. Yan is obedient, sensible, and knows how to coax people. If it were me, I'd listen to her too. Cheng Juanhao laughed and hurried forward to support his wife. At the same time, he called out to Hua Chenhuan, who was still carrying Dun Dun. You must be tired from the journey. Go in and rest. We don't have to be so formal in our own home. Don't be so restrained. Hua Chenhuan nodded and followed the two inside with Dun Dun. Su Yiyan was no stranger to the Cheng family. After coaxing Grandpa Cheng, she hurried into the kitchen to prepare lunch. The Cheng family had a cook. This cook was very old. For as long as Su Yiyan could remember, she had been working in the Cheng family. She had watched Su Yiyan grow up. When she saw Su Yiyan enter, her eyes lit up and she hurried over. Yan sis is back. Aunt Fong. Su Yiyan walked over and hugged her. She smiled and said, I just arrived. What are you cooking? I've boiled a bowl of soup and made a few dishes that you specifically instructed me to make for young madam. I haven't had the time to make the rest. Su Yiyan would send over a set of medicinal herbs and recipes to prevent miscarriage every half a month. Within a few months, Aunt Fong had learned many dishes. Although the taste was not as good as Su Yiyan's, at least it was nutritionally balanced and hygienic. Qin Shueru felt more at ease eating it. Su Yiyan glanced at the dishes that Aunt Fong had already prepared. I'll cook the rest. Let Grandpa and the others have a taste of my cooking. Since she had already done so, Aunt Fong naturally had no objections and tactfully retreated from the kitchen. Because Qin Shueru was pregnant, the ingredients at home were especially fresh and complete. Su Yiyan walked around and calculated the ingredients that she might need before turning on the live stream. The number of followers in Su Yiyan's live stream had already reached 8 digits. Usually, there would be people hanging in the live stream all year round waiting for her to come online. Therefore, when she started the live stream, people immediately noticed it. Look at what I've found. Our cutie has suddenly appeared. Haha, the host always pops out from time to time to surprise us. I'm so lucky today. I'll go buy a lottery ticket later. The background of the host's live stream has changed again. Where is it this time? The background looks a little like an old house. I'm at my maternal grandfather's house now. This is my maternal grandfather's kitchen. Due to some special reasons, I have to stay here for a month or two. Therefore, you might see this kitchen often in the future. Chapter 6:12. Grandpa's house? This kitchen doesn't seem to be as well decorated as the previous ones. Is it an old house? It looks a bit like my house. As soon as these words came out, many people immediately agreed. Su Yiyan's previous kitchens looked particularly magnificent. Every brick and tile was filled with the smell of money. It was rare to see a kitchen that was similar to their own. Everyone was a little excited and talked about what their own kitchens were like. However, many people thought that talking about their own kitchens was secretly flaunting their wealth. After all, not many people would go out of their way to build a kitchen. If they didn't even know how to cook, building a kitchen would be a waste of space. However, soon, someone jumped out and attacked the audience who were complacent and felt that they finally had the same style as the host. I advise you not to take it too seriously. Although the host's grandpa's house is an old house, it's definitely not a simple old house. Looking at the wooden cabinet behind the host, it should be made of mahogany. How expensive is mahogany? Even if you haven't seen the real thing, you should have at least heard of it, right? As soon as these words came out, the audience who had commented that they had a kitchen like the host's grandpa's house suddenly became silent. After that, the audience who pointed out the reality of the situation focused on the kitchen furniture included in the camera and came to the conclusion that each one was more expensive than the other. The audience was speechless. They thought that it was rare to have a similar style, but they didn't expect that the host was just showing off her wealth in a low-key way. For a moment, I don't know whether to sigh at the scientific expert's erudition or that the host's house is really rich. Upstairs +1. I'm so sad that I'm crying poor tears. Su Yiyan didn't care about how these people were digging into the old items in her grandpa's kitchen. She was busy making the braised food that her grandpa had ordered. Making braised food was actually quite simple. Among the things that Su Yiyan brought this time was the braised food bag that was precisely prepared by the restaurant. After adding the medicine bag, adding an appropriate amount of water to boil it, it was ready. After a while, the strange and overbearing aroma dissipated throughout the live broadcast room, hooking everyone's appetite. Oh, this is the smell. The last time I smelled this smell in the host's live broadcast room, I forced myself to drink 2 bottles of nutrient solution. After that, my stomach felt uncomfortable for a few days. It's really hopeless. I didn't expect the streamer to make braised food today. I bought it from the streamer's shop once before, and I've been thinking about the taste ever since. Previous poster, please don't show off. The braised food in the streamer's shop is also limited. I haven't managed to snatch it even once. I've tried it from there. I can smell it but can't eat it. It's really enough to make me cry. Su Yiyan had also thought of selling the braised buns directly, but this suggestion was met with opposition from many people in the mausoleum. The malicious competition from before was truly too vile. It had almost become a psychological shadow that many people in the mausoleum could not get rid of. After all, this medicine pack was filled with medicinal herbs. Su Yiyan had repeatedly emphasized that eating too much of this stuff would cause excessive internal heat. However, it was hard to guarantee that there would still be some people who ate this stuff for 3 meals a day. At that time, if there was really a problem with the food, wouldn't they have to come back to blackmail them again? After some discussion, they decided that not only could they not sell the medicine packs, but they also had to limit the amount of braised food in the store. This would reduce the burden of the store's employees and ensure that more people could buy it and try it. Chapter 613. Su Yiyan was speechless by their logical business sense and finally acquiesced to their actions. However, no matter how limited the purchase was, the items were limited. Their store had a large flow of customers, and basically everyone who went to their store wanted to bring a portion of braised food back. Over time, the braised food became the most popular product in their store. When Su Yiyan saw the comments on the screen, he mistakenly thought that everyone was not interested in the braised food. As he put the peeled boiled eggs, duck gizzards, pork, beef and other things into the braised water, he explained, "Someone at home wanted to eat this, so I made some. Sorry for the delay. We'll make some new food and medicinal cuisine in a while." It's not a delay. I like this braised food. With this taste, I feel like I can eat 2 more bowls of rice. Host, I'm afraid you have some misunderstanding about your cooking. This braised food is super delicious, okay? Just because someone at home wanted to eat it, you made it? It's so sour that it's like a lemon. Is the host's family really not short of people? Upstairs, please feel free to queue behind. The host's family has already lined up to outer space. How can you cut the queue? Sob, sob, sob. I'm only concerned about this braised food host. Will she draw a prize later? Can you tell me the inside story? I really want to eat it. Su Yiyan looked at everyone's enthusiasm for the braised food and did not know whether to laugh or cry. At the same time, he could not help but sigh at the foresight of his employees. Even if they knew that eating too much of this would make them heaty, foodies would still sacrifice themselves for the food without any hesitation. If you like it, you can draw a few later. Since it was already cooked, it was not too troublesome to add more ingredients. Okay, someone at home is going to have a baby soon, so today, we'll make some dishes and medicinal cuisine for pregnant women in the late stages. As soon as Su Yiyan said that, the live stream room began to stir. The host is going to have a baby? Congratulations. Haha, upstairs I thought the host was going to have a baby. I wish you all the best. While I'm at it, I'm just about to have a baby. Su Yiyan's words successfully created a bunch of expectant parents, and expectant parents. As a result, for a long time after that, the comments on the screen of the live broadcast were all about parenting. The viewers who came in later were confused and thought that they had accidentally entered the parenting channel. First, let's make soup. Today we're going to make wolfberry black chicken soup. Black chicken has high edible and medicinal value, and it's rich in protein. It's very suitable for pregnant women in the 3rd trimester. It can be used with wolfberry to nourish the liver and kidneys, as well as replenish the blood. Expectant mothers in the 3rd trimester also need to take in more protein and vitamins, so during this period of time, they should eat more fish, meat, and the internal organs of pigs, cows, and sheep, as well as fresh fruits and vegetables to replenish their protein and vitamins. Su Yiyan stewed the soup as she ate. After that, she made stir-fried pork kidney, potato ribs, seaweed beef, chestnut stewed chicken, and other dishes. For a moment, the live stream room was filled with smoke. The fragrance of different dishes mixed with the fragrance of the previous pot of braised food made the viewers' stomachs growl. They eagerly waited for Su Yiyan's lucky draw. After preparing Qin Shueru's pregnancy meal, Su Yiyan began to prepare lunch for Old Master Cheng and the others. Chapter 6:14. Su Yiyan first made a big pot of boiled beef, then she made Hua Qinhuan's favorite shrimp. Finally, she made the Yuxiang shredded pork that she had promised the old man. The last dish is a little special. It's called Yuxiang shredded pork, but it doesn't use fish. Instead, it uses pork tenderloin. As for why it's called Yuxiang shredded pork, it's because of the fish flavor of the dish itself. The so-called fish flavor is the main seasoning of fish chili and pickled pepper, which can produce a kind of fish flavor when cooking. That's why it's called Yuxiang shredded pork. Su Yiyan quickly cut the pork tenderloin into thin strips. She added salt, cooking wine, and other seasonings to marinate it. After that, she removed the marinated meat until it was oily white and set it aside for later use. During this time, she looked up at the broadcast room and found that many people were really interested in this dish. And the most prominent one among them was, "Is this really Yuxiang shredded pork? I've ordered Yuxiang shredded pork at Hai restaurant before, and it seemed to be made with fish." Su Yiyan froze for a moment. It wasn't because of the Yuxiang shredded pork that used fish, but because of the Hai restaurant that this person mentioned. Wasn't Hai restaurant the name of the restaurant group under Do Yi that Hua Qinhuan had mentioned to her before? "I don't know what kind of Yuxiang shredded pork you've eaten in the restaurant, but the Yuxiang shredded pork of ancient Earth didn't use fish." Su Yiyan seemed to have thought of something and laughed softly. In ancient Earth, there was a saying that there was no fish in Yuxiang shredded pork, and there was no wife in wife biscuits. It's a delicacy that doesn't match the name. The audience member who asked the question didn't want to find fault. He was just curious. After listening to Su Yiyan's words, he didn't continue to dwell on this issue. The other audience members were attracted by Su Yiyan's words and became curious about the wife biscuit she mentioned. "Host, what is wife biscuit? Why is it called wife biscuit? Can I find a wife if I eat it? If so, can I make an appointment for a dozen?" "Make an appointment for a dozen? Are you in a hurry to find someone to beat you? How dare you ask for an appointment with the streamer? Do you want to be put in a gunny sack on your way to work?" Legend has it that the wife biscuit was made by the wife of a pastry chef. After the pastry chef improved it, it became the wife biscuit. Because the main ingredient of this kind of biscuit was winter melon, the crust would be crispy and as thin as a piece of tissue paper after being baked, so it had another elegant name which was winter mushroom crisp. Because this biscuit is sweet and delicious, suitable for both young and old, many places later like to use it as wedding biscuits, so it is also called a wedding biscuit. The audience almost drooled when they heard Su Yiyan's description of the taste. However, Su Yiyan's budget for today's live broadcast did not include the wife biscuit. It was truly torturous to be able to hear it, think about it, but not see it or eat it. Sob, 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 I'm begging the streamer to make this wife biscuit. Single girls need comfort. The two of them wrote a letter in blood begging the streamer to make this wifey biscuit. I want to use it to confess to my goddess. In the beginning, many of the male viewers in the live broadcast room heard Su Yiyan talk about the origin and story of this illness and felt that it had nothing to do with them. When they saw this message, they felt enlightened. Yes, since this biscuit was called a wifey biscuit, they could buy it for their wives, girlfriends, and goddesses. Who didn't have a wife or girlfriend, who needed to be coaxed and hugged when they quarreled? Who didn't have a goddess who they secretly loved and was afraid of offending when they confessed? Chapter 6:15. As long as they had this wife biscuit, they would no longer have to worry about quarreling with their girlfriends, wives, and not knowing what to buy home to coax them. As long as they had this wife biscuit, they would no longer have to worry about how to break the ice with their goddess. If their hint was too obvious, the other party would not be interested in them and would feel awkward. If their hint was too subtle, the other party would be too slow to notice. All of a sudden, the male compatriots in the live broadcast room collectively rioted. One after another, they flooded the screen, hoping that the host would pity the poor single people and the poor married people who were often kicked out of the guest room and make this wife biscuit. Su Yiyan did not expect that his casual mention of the wife biscuit would attract such a large number of fans with evil intentions. After a while he did not know whether to laugh or cry. The live broadcast was rushed this time, and the ingredients were not prepared in advance. Next time I will make wife biscuits for you. Although the audience in the live broadcast room felt regretful, since Su Yiyan promised to make it next time, many of them were quite happy. They all said that they would remember it and that the host must remember to make it for them next time. Don't stand them up. Su Yiyan agreed with a faint smile and opened the lid to take a look at the black chicken soup. Then he heated up the pot, put the stored ginger, garlic, dried chili and dried pepper into the pot and stir-fried the red oil. Then he put the shredded meat into the pot and stir-fried it until the color changed. Ginger, garlic and chili were originally ingredients with strong flavor. Now that they were in the pot, the aroma filled the air. When the main ingredient was added, the aroma was even more overwhelming. The audience in the live broadcast room temporarily forgot about the wife biscuit they had been longing for. When the meat in the pot had changed color, he stir-fried the vegetables and fungus until it was cooked and put it on a plate. The moment the dish was out of the pot, the audience in the live broadcast room could not help but gasp. Su Yiyan put the dish aside first and fished out some braised food from the pot that had been cooking for some time. After slicing it, the live broadcast room was almost over. Su Yiyan asked Aunt Fong to come in and help him take the dish out. Unexpectedly, as soon as he walked out of the kitchen, he saw several familiar faces in his house. Grandpa Li, Grandpa Fan, Grandpa Deng, why are you all here? When the elders saw Su Yiyan come out, their eyes lit up and they quickly changed their expressions. They asked, Yin is back and you look more beautiful. Isn't it? Back then she looked like a black coal ball. Now she's fair, tall and beautiful. She's even prettier than those TV stars. Su Yiyan. Although there was indeed a period of time when she was tanned, there was no need to emphasize it so much. When old Master Cheng heard his words, he was also unhappy. Go go go. When has our Yin ever been shady? That's called health. You don't know anything yet you're still spouting nonsense. We're innocent. That's right. Grandpa Li, who had always been arguing with old Master Cheng, agreed with him for once. No matter how dark Yin is, he's still much fairer than that mud monkey of yours who jumps up and down. How dare he complain that Yin is dark? Grandpa Fan, who had become the target of public criticism because of his clumsy mouth. Since when did I dislike Yin? Which eye of yours saw me despising Yin? I feel wronged. Grandpa Li shamelessly used his connections to intimidate others. Then he turned to look at Su Yiyan with a smile. Yin, are you cooking? Su Yiyan. Fine, I see. These people are here to freeload. Chapter 6:16. Su Yiyan cleared her throat and said, Grandpa wants to eat braised food, so I'll make some. Of course, Grandpa Li knew that she was making braised food. The Cheng family had made this once before, and the fragrance had spread for miles. It had attracted the attention of all the families in the area. At that time they had followed the smell to the Cheng family and wanted this old man to give them some. What did this bastard say? This is a gift from my family's Yin. There's only one packet and it's gone after you eat it. If you want to eat it, ask your grandchildren for it. Grandpa Li and the others didn't get to eat it and were even shown off. When they got home they scolded their grandchildren. Look at other people's children and then look at them. It's better to raise a piece of barbecued pork. At least barbecued pork is edible. Everyone who had to bear the infamy of being unfilial for no reason. We are so wronged. The most infuriating thing was that they thought it would be gone after one use. Although they were greedy, they couldn't really fight with Grandpa Cheng for a few pieces of meat. Who would have thought that after 3 or 4 days when it was time to eat, they could smell the strong fragrance coming from the Cheng family? Grandpa Li and the others who finally realized that they had been deceived. What the hell? There's only one packet? Doesn't your conscience hurt to deceive your old friends for decades? Later they found out that there was indeed only one packet, but the broth from this packet could be recycled, and the more it was cooked, the more fragrant it would be. They were so angry that their stomachs hurt. In the end, they decided to go to Grandpa Cheng's house and threaten him. Only then did they each get some braised meat and chicken feet to try it at home. It was just that he was only curious before he ate it, but after taking a bite he started to worry about it, thinking about it day and night. Grandpa Li had just insulted Grandpa Cheng and carried a few fish home with satisfaction when he smelled the familiar fragrance coming from the Cheng family's house. Grandpa Li glanced at the fish in his own bucket and then looked at the Cheng family not far away, which was emitting a human scent. Did he have to be slapped in the face so quickly? Grandpa Li wasn't the only one who was attracted by the fragrance. A while ago, the few old men who had dispersed gathered in front of the Cheng family's house and looked at each other. After walking around for about 10 minutes, they finally couldn't take it anymore and went in together. Grandpa Li stared at the plate of braised food in Su Yiyen's hands. He wanted to say something but stopped himself. In the end, it was another grandpa on the side who coughed lightly and said shamelessly, "Are you guys preparing to eat? It just so happens that we haven't eaten either." As soon as he said that, old Master Cheng's face darkened. He knew that these shameless old fellows were here to snatch food from him. Su Yiyen didn't expect them to be so straightforward. He was startled. Then he glanced at his grandfather's face, which was as black as the bottom of a pot, and an idea flashed through his mind. Ahem, it's rare for grandpas to come here. Logically speaking, I should ask you to stay for a meal. Their eyes lit up, but old Master Cheng's face turned even darker. But I didn't know you were coming, so I didn't cook much at home. The joyful expressions on their faces suddenly froze. Old Master Cheng, on the other hand, raised his chin proudly like a victorious rooster. How about this? I'll pack a portion of braised food for each grandpa. Grandpas take it home first. When there's a chance next time, I'll cook more and invite you grandpas over to have some fun. What do you think? Chapter 617. When Grandpa Li and the others heard Su Yiyen's words, they thought that there was no hope of tasting this fragrant braised food today. Unexpectedly, at the last moment, there was a glimmer of hope. The corners of his mouth couldn't help but curl up, but he still maintained a somewhat reserved tone. How can I accept this? Old Master Cheng couldn't stand their shameless faces, so he snorted coldly. If you're embarrassed, then don't ask for it. Take it or leave it. If you don't want it, scram. When Grandpa Li heard that, the smile on his face faded slightly, and he couldn't help but argue with him again. Old Cheng, your words are meaningless. To think that you're Yen Yen's grandfather. You're not as cute as Yen Yen at all. No matter how cute she is, Yen Yen is still my granddaughter. Rain Maiden had no melons. Grandpa Li choked and glared fiercely at old Master Cheng. This old man's temper was like a stone in a latrine pit. He was smelly and stubborn, but he had such a cute, sensible and capable granddaughter. Did he burn too many incense sticks in his previous life? When he thought about how he had such a granddaughter who could eat such delicious food, Grandpa Li was filled with envy and jealousy. He was so angry that his eyes turned red. The other grandpas were the same. There was no lack of people with solid family backgrounds, and most of their families were very harmonious. Their only regret was that they didn't have someone who could cook so well. They didn't have the luck to eat such delicious food. Old Master Cheng met everyone's resentful gazes without any psychological burden. The gloominess of being ridiculed for not fishing in the morning completely disappeared without a trace. So what if you're good at fishing? There's still no one to cook for you. Su Yiyen saw the smug and arrogant look on her grandfather's face. She went back to the kitchen and scooped out the remaining braised food in the pot. She divided it into several boxes and gave them to them. Fortunately, she originally wanted to bring some food with her when she was free later and visit the neighbors with Huo. There was a lot of braised food in this big pot, and each box was barely enough for one person to get a see of it. The few of them took the food and flattered Su Yiyen on the spot. They also made an appointment with old Master Cheng to fish with him again tomorrow. Old Master Cheng. Who made an appointment with you? I don't want to see you for the next few days. The few of them smiled and made an appointment for the next day. Then they hurriedly carried the box and ran home, afraid that someone would come and snatch it away. After watching them leave, old Master Cheng angrily scolded, "These old bastards." "All right, Grandpa." Su Yiyen stepped forward to hold old Master Cheng's hand and led him to the dining table. "Hurry up and eat. It won't taste good if it gets cold. Don't you want to eat shredded pork with garlic sauce? Here, this is it. Try it and see if it tastes good." Su Yiyen led old Master Cheng to the back of the main seat and sat on his right. At the same time, he turned to look at Huo. Huo understood. She walked over to her side and sat down, while Qing Juanhao and Li Na sat on the other side. Old Master Cheng listened to his granddaughter's advice and reached for the shredded pork with garlic sauce with his chopsticks. He was stunned when he tasted it. The shredded pork that had been marinated in oil was soft and tender. When paired with the spicy fish sauce that was stir-fried with chili, onions and garlic, it was salty, sweet, sour, and spicy. It was just one dish, but he could taste several flavors. Moreover, the flavors were not mixed at all. Instead, they were surprisingly harmonious. Is this really pork?" Su Yiyen laughed and said meaningfully, "Yes, we don't have any fish in the kitchen today. It can't be made with fish, right? Chapter 6:18. Old Master Cheng was instantly pleased. Even if there was no fish, his precious granddaughter could still make all kinds of delicious dishes that were not inferior to fish. In the end he still won. Su Yiyan saw that old Master Cheng's expression was slightly better. After eating the shredded pork with garlic sauce, he turned to the boiled beef and stopped coaxing him. When he turned around he saw Qin Shueru's pitiful eyes staring at the braised pork and shredded pork with garlic sauce. He couldn't help but laugh and pushed the spicy pork kidney, potato ribs, seaweed beef and chestnut braised chicken in front of her. "Aunt, eat these first. The wolfberry black chicken soup is still simmering on the stove. Drink a bowl of soup after you finish eating. Don't eat the shredded pork with garlic sauce first. If you still want to eat it after the baby is born, I'll make more for you." Qin Shueru's face turned red. She didn't dare to look at the other dishes and focused on eating her pregnancy meal. Su Yiyan was worried that Huo Chenhuan wasn't very used to this place. After that, she helped him put food in his bowl and wanted to pile it into a steeple. While Su Yiyan was cooking, Huo Chenhuan followed Qin Shueru and Cheng Juanhao around the big courtyard. She was no longer as distant as before. However, in the face of Su Yiyan's special care, Huo Chenhuan accepted it without any psychological burden. At the same time she returned the favor with a pile of food. Cheng Juanhao pursed his lips and looked at his wife sadly when he saw the two of them skillfully starting to abuse each other. Qin Shueru's mouth twitched. She patted his head resignedly and put a prawn in his bowl. Cheng Juanhao was instantly revived and began to eat the prawn happily. Old Master Cheng, who was watching this scene from afar. How did he give birth to such a useless son? Old Master Cheng's mood, which had just improved, fell to the bottom again when he saw that there wasn't much braised food left on the table. Su Yiyan saw through his thoughts and smiled helplessly. "Grandfather, Chenhuan and I will be staying here for a month or two. Are you worried that there won't be enough food?" Old Master Cheng was stunned and fell into deep thought. Soon he smiled again. After dinner, Su Yiyan took Huo Chenhuan back to her room. Su Yiyan would stay with the Qing family for a period of time every year, so the Qing family had a special room for her to stay in. Even if she didn't come over, it was always empty. Su Yiyan pulled Huo Chenhuan into the house and looked around to make sure that nothing was missing. The furnishings were all in their original positions. "This dressing table and bed were left to me by my grandmother. They're imitations of the bed and dressing table that girls used when they became nuns. Do they look good?" Huo Chenhuan looked in the direction Su Yiyan pointed and saw the big bed and dressing table in the corner. Her eyes flashed and she said with a faint smile, "They look good." Su Yiyan pulled Huo Chenhuan to sit on the bed and reached out to touch the carved peony flower beside the bed. She smiled and said, "My grandmother wanted to give this bed to my mother as a dowry, but Sea City was too far away from a city, so she could only leave it at home. Later, my mother gave birth to me, so this bed naturally belonged to me." "You've been sleeping in this room when you came here before?" "Yes." Su Yiyan nodded. "I lived here most of the time before I turned 7. At that time, my aunt was worried that I would be afraid of the dark at night, so she often came over to sleep with me and tell me stories." "What stories did she tell you?" Su Yiyan leaned against the bedpost and yawned. "Some fairy tales. Red Riding Hood, Big Bad Wolf, and so on." Chapter 6:19. Huo Chenhuan raised his eyebrows slightly and whispered into her ear with a faint smile. "Then, did she say that Red Riding Hood was eaten by the big bad wolf in the end?" "What?" Su Yiyan did not hear clearly and turned to look at him in confusion. "Nothing." Huo Chenhuan could see that she was tired. He reached out to hold her shoulders and let her lean on him. "Tired?" Su Yiyan took the opportunity to hug his waist. She buried her face in Huo Chenhuan's arms and said coquettishly, "A little. Sleep with me for a while?" "Okay." The couple, who had woken up early in the morning, hugged each other and took an afternoon nap. On the other side, old Master Cheng asked his daughter-in-law for a picture of the lunch table. He opened a group called Elderly Fishing Group and sent it out. He ching, picture, 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 picture. After sending it out, he still did not vent his anger. He opened Old Man Li's private account and sent him a copy. Grandpa Li was looking at his son and grandson with disdain. They had really wasted their lives. They could not even show him filial piety by stuttering. Now they were coveting the food he had painstakingly obtained. They were really unfilial. The father and son of the Li family met their fathers, grandfathers, disdainful gaze and were embarrassed. Although old Master Li was usually strict with them, he had never despised them as much as he did today. The two of them subconsciously asked their wives for help, but they received the same confused gaze. So, what the hell is going on? After thinking for a while, the whole family turned their eyes to the box of braised meat in front of the old man. The last time Old Master Li went to Old Master Cheng's place to snatch some back, they were not at home. They were very lucky to have eaten it alone. This was the first time they had seen this thing. There were 10,000 question marks in their hearts, but they could not help but drool. The meat looked black, but it smelled really good. Just as they were in a stalemate, Grandpa Li's phone suddenly vibrated and a few messages popped up. Grandpa Li originally wanted to ignore them, but when he saw that the message was from his old friend, he thought about it and opened it to take a look. In the end, he was dazzled by a large number of unknown delicacies. Grandpa Li frowned, realizing that things were not that simple. Sure enough, the next second she saw Old Master Cheng send over a picture. It was a plate of stir-fried shredded meat that looked pretty good. The vegetables on it were hua hua lulu. Ching, did you see that? My Yen specially made this dish for me. It's called fish-flavored shredded pork. Proud. JPG, Mu Zili, shredded pork with garlic sauce? Fish. Didn't you fail to catch any fish? When Old Master Cheng saw this reply, his face darkened and he snorted coldly. Ching, this is made from pork. You've never seen the taste of fish made from pork, right? Mu Zili, impossible. How could pork taste like fish? Through the screen, Old Master Cheng could imagine Rao's surprised expression, and his mood instantly improved. Ching, that's because you're ignorant. Just because you haven't seen it before doesn't mean that Ing didn't tell you. This shredded meat is especially soft and tender. It tastes salty, sweet, sour, and spicy. That taste, Grandpa Li could not help but swallow his saliva when he heard Old Master Cheng's explicit description. However, he still could not believe it. In his opinion, this was just a plate of ordinary shredded meat. Mu Zili, woof, how could a dish have so many flavors? It must taste terrible. Chapter 620. Old Master Cheng was unhappy when he saw that someone actually said that his precious granddaughter's dishes tasted bad. Ching, you're the one who's ignorant. My Yan's cooking is very good. How can her dishes taste bad? Ching, some people are eating my Yan's food, yet they still have the nerve to say that her dishes aren't good. How shameless. Ching, haha, forget it. There's nothing to do with people like you who think grapes are sour. I'm going to drink the soup that my Yen specially made for me. Goodbye. After Old Master Cheng sent a few messages dissing Grandpa Li from head to toe, he decisively blacklisted him. Thus, Grandpa Li was a little stunned by his continuous ridicule. When he reacted and wanted to retort, he sent a big red exclamation mark with a notification below. You have been blacklisted. Please add the other party as a friend again. Grandpa Li? Grandpa Li, who was blacklisted by his scheming old friend, felt a little wronged. Just as he was about to turn his grievances into appetite and finish the entire box of braised food, he looked up and realized that more than half of the box of braised food was gone. There was only a piece of braised meat, half a piece of duck gizzard, and a chicken claw left. He then looked at his son, daughter-in-law, grandson, and granddaughter-in-law around the table. They were all eating with relish. The anger in Grandpa Li's heart exploded as if hot oil had been poured on it. You unfilial sons. At that time, Su Yiyan still didn't know that she had become the fuse for a family war. She was hugging her man and sleeping soundly. At this time, her livestream recording also reached its peak. Her fish-flavored shredded pork and wife pancake in the livestream caused a heated discussion. At first, some viewers thought that these two delicacies were very rare. Different ingredients could be processed to produce the same taste. Moreover, the name of this wife pancake was quite interesting. Just like the viewers in the livestream, buying such an exquisite box of desserts to coax one's wife or girlfriend, or even to confess one's love. However, no one would have thought that because of the heated discussion among the audience, these two things would silently climb to the real-time hot topic list. There was an employee in Hei restaurant who liked to surf the internet. While he was free, he browsed the internet and saw the Wuxia shredded pork hanging on the ceiling. It was not that he was sensitive, but the shredded pork with garlic sauce was one of the signature dishes of Hei restaurant, and other restaurants did not have it. When the staff saw their signature dish on the internet, they were immediately energized. They thought that a customer who had come to the restaurant before had praised their restaurant's dishes on the internet for being novel and delicious. In the end, when he clicked on it, he found that an internet celebrity had streamed the dish live. He even boasted shamelessly that the dish was made with pork and had nothing to do with fish. The staff's first reaction was that this internet celebrity was deliberately trying to make their restaurant popular. They hurriedly informed their restaurant's manager-cum-chef, Lu Jingjing, about this. Lu Jingyun was also stunned when he saw this hot topic. After seeing the culprit who caused all this, his eyes turned cold. 10 minutes later, Lu Jingjing used the Hai Restaurant's account to post a status update. Hey restaurant Nandi and me, these days some young people like to bite off more than they can chew. They will do anything to become famous, and they will eventually suffer the consequences. Look back and see the shore, step on solid ground. Chapter 6:21. She didn't mention Su Yiyan in her live stream, but it gave people a feeling that she was pointing at the mulberry tree and cursing the locust tree. She was using her identity as an elder to persuade the younger generation not to continue to make mistakes. Of course, this was only in the eyes of Su Yiyan's fans and some passers-by. As a well-known high-end restaurant, there was no lack of food-loving supporters under the account. As soon as they saw this post, they immediately thought of the fish-flavored shredded pork on the hot topic list. Some people, like the audience in Su Yiyan's live stream, had eaten fish-flavored shredded pork at the restaurant. In addition, Su Yiyan's audience was mostly patients who were not feeling well and needed medicinal cuisine to recuperate, as well as live stream viewers. There was not much overlap with these simple food lovers who only liked to spend money in physical stores. These supporters didn't know much about Su Yiyan and the restaurant. They had only heard of Su Yiyan's career as a streamer, so they regarded her as an ordinary internet celebrity. When they saw Lu Jingjing's post, they also preconceived that this unknown internet celebrity was maliciously trying to scam the restaurant. Immediately, they followed the ghostwriters that Lu Jingjing had hired and flooded into the hashtag fish-flavored shredded pork hashtag topic and began to mock and ridicule. Where did this wild chicken come from? Adding drama without permission? How dare she try to scam the restaurant? Don't you know there's a term called malicious backlash? Do you really think no one can control you? Plagiarism is not a problem. The most disgusting thing is that after plagiarizing, you turn around and bite the chef. What's the difference between this and picking up a bowl to eat meat and putting down the bowl to curse your mother? Are all internet celebrities so arrogant nowadays? How dare she try to scam the restaurant? She's not afraid of meeting ghosts. The audience, who were happily discussing the various delicacies that had appeared in the host's live stream and imagining the wife biscuits that the host would make in the next live stream, were stunned for a few seconds when they saw the ghostwriters and supporters who had suddenly flooded in and were spouting all kinds of fragrant words. It took them a few seconds to realize that these people had run in to cause trouble. The supporters of the restaurant only listened to Lu Jingjing's one-sided statement and determined that Su Yiyan was maliciously trying to scam the restaurant and distort the facts. However, the viewers in Su Yiyan's live streaming room actually saw her make the shredded pork with garlic sauce. In the end, they even used the simulator to personally taste the finished product. Even the viewer who asked in the live broadcast room at that time had to admit that regardless of the actual cooking method of the shredded pork with garlic sauce, the shredded pork with garlic sauce made by Su Yiyan was much better than the ones from other restaurants. Now that they saw these cursing words, they were all furious, especially when they saw the strange atmosphere in a certain restaurant. They were even angrier when they saw the two sentences that pointed at the mulberry and the locust tree. Originally, I didn't want to turn on the microphone if it didn't involve a certain restaurant. He had been there once and the service was extremely bad. The service staff looked at him with supercilious eyes. The food was expensive but not delicious. All the waiters and chefs in the restaurant almost had the words "bullying customers" printed on their foreheads. Such a trashy restaurant actually has supporters. It's really an eye-opener. The previous poster is going off topic. When he saw some idiots who thought they were righteous after being used by others, he only wanted to say, "If you don't have a brain, you should study more." Shredded pork with garlic sauce was a dish from ancient Earth that had long been lost. Whether it's the host or the restaurant, it's just a restoration. Someone is also shameless. They even flaunted that they were unique. What a joke. Chapter 6:22. That's right. The streamer made it very clear during the live broadcast that there was no fish in the fish-flavored shredded pork from ancient Earth. The amazing thing about this dough material was that it used pork to create a fishy aroma. Whether it was the ingredients or the cooking method, it was completely different from a certain restaurant. A certain streamer from a certain restaurant is trying to scam you. I thought that you saw that our streamer was very popular and deliberately stepped on her to boost your restaurant's popularity. Shameless. Get lost. Restaurant supporters were also enraged by Su Yiyan's viewers. Just because you don't want to add fish doesn't mean you won't add fish? Using pork to make fish flavor? Either his brain had been eaten by monsters, or he had been brainwashed to the point of lying through his teeth. He did not even know how to be more professional when it came to lying. Moreover, of all the things she could cook, she had to cook shredded pork with garlic sauce. Who didn't know that shredded pork with garlic sauce was the signature dish of Hee Restaurant? Even so, you still think that I didn't use Hee Restaurant to boost my popularity? Brainless fans are indeed brainless. Friend, didn't your teacher tell you not to jump to conclusions about the unknown? Otherwise you'll be slapped in the face. Just because you haven't seen or heard of it doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. There are tens of millions of people online during the live broadcast, and at least a few million people have opened simulators to taste it online. Do you really think that everyone is like you, being led away by a single sentence and still thinking that you're awesome? As for the signature dish of a certain restaurant, let me emphasize this one last time. Shredded pork with garlic sauce is a dish from ancient Earth. Do you have any evidence to prove that your restaurant is the dish from ancient Earth? If your family can do it, others can't do it. What's the difference between this and those companies who maliciously snatch trademarks? Is this dish your original creation? How dare the streamer plagiarize you? I think it's you who plagiarized the name shredded pork with garlic sauce from ancient Earth, using a chicken feather as a token of authority. Now that your lie has been exposed, you're afraid that you'll be exposed, so you strike first to gain the upper hand and nip the threat in the bud. Big restaurants are indeed different when they have a backer. The viewers in Su Yiyen's live broadcast room had experienced a few inexplicable incidents. Whether it was in terms of fighting power or organization, they had made a qualitative leap. They were no longer the pitiful people who could only recognize and pinch people's faces. In their opinion, although Su Yiyen was not a celebrity, it was a fact that they liked Su Yiyen's cooking. Previously, after the streamer had been blackmailed by someone, she hadn't broadcasted for a few days. Although she didn't say anything, she must be very sad. Especially at that time, many of the audience members had been led to change sides at the last minute. Part of the reason why she was sad was because the audience had looked on coldly and no one had spoken up for her. Therefore, many people now understood that the streamer would be sad if no one supported her when she was defamed. Once the streamer was sad, there would be fewer people streaming, and their spiritual food would also be gone. Anyone who touched their spiritual food was their enemy, and they had to deal with them. Lu Jinjing did not expect that even though he had hired the Internet Water Army to deliberately set the pace, this group of people still could not beat Su Yiyen's scattered audience. His face turned a little ugly for a moment, and he secretly thought about how to add fuel to the fire. However, before he could do anything, the live streaming platform had already stepped forward to counterattack him. Although Su Yiyen and Huo Chenhuan had gone far away, Yuzian was still paying attention to the situation in Su Yiyen's live broadcast room. He was conscientious in doing all the explosion-proof work. As early as when Su Yiyen's live broadcast had mentioned the cooking method of fish-flavored shredded pork, Yuzian had sensed that something was wrong. He had asked the public relations department to make emergency preparations in advance. Chapter 623. Sure enough, in less than an hour, the people from Hei Restaurant ran over to cause trouble for young Master Rao. Yuzian was annoyed by these guys. When young mistress was at home, they would come over from time to time to eat and drink. Now that young Master Rao and young Mistress Rao were out, their only source of entertainment was gone. These people were still rushing over to provoke them. Weren't they looking for trouble? Brothers were coming back. As usual, the one who contributes the most will be included in the week's assessment. The one who performs the best may get a portion of young Master Ru's premium medicinal cuisine. For your employee benefits, let's go. Yuzian's heart was filled with ambition, but he didn't expect that just as he finished shouting his slogan, he was stopped by someone. Wait boss, it seems that someone made a move first. Someone made a move first? Yuzian was stunned. Zui Yanbai and Gu Xiaoyang are fighting for credit again? It doesn't seem to be them. It's the audience in young mistress's live broadcast room. Audience? Yuzian was stunned and hurried to the screen. It turned out that one of the audience members who watched Su Yiyen's live broadcast was very interested in her fish-flavored shredded pork and wife biscuits. Coincidentally, he majored in ancient earth research or archaeology. Out of curiosity, he sent the clip to his supervisor. The supervisor was also very surprised when he saw it. He flipped through the ancient books at hand and really found the sentence that Su Yiyen mentioned. There was no fish in the fish-flavored shredded pork. As for the second half of the sentence, it was already eaten by worms and could not be seen clearly. As a result, The supervisor was also interested in the host that the student was talking about. He asked the student to recommend Su Yiyan's live broadcast room to him. When Su Yiyan's next live broadcast, he also wanted to see what this legendary wife biscuit looked like. The audience member was very happy to be recognized by the supervisor and immediately recommended Su Yiyan's live broadcast room to his supervisor. At the same time, he also recommended many of the medicinal cuisines and daily dishes that Su Yiyan had made before. After he finally calmed down from the excitement of, from today onwards, I'll follow the same host as my supervisor. Just as he was about to post the incomplete script that his teacher had sent him online to show off, he saw the post from a restaurant's public account. He immediately became angry and directly fired at a certain restaurant. These days, some people like to take advantage of their seniority and stifle the newcomers. You created a fake dish in the name of restoring ancient earth dishes, and when you were exposed, you turned around and mocked others for being too young and inexperienced to be compared with you. You even slandered others for plagiarism. You made the entire industry your own words, and it was all for the sake of profit. Who doesn't know how to do both? In this world, it's not that old people become hooligans, it's that hooligans become old. He still didn't mention a certain restaurant in the entire article. Instead, he directly pointed out that some people were taking advantage of their seniority and deliberately suppressing the newcomers for their own benefit. Most importantly, he even sent out the waxy yellow scroll, stating that it was found by his teacher after searching through ancient books. Moreover, only the first half of the sentence was recorded, the second half was lost. Even so, it could still prove that Su Yiyan's method was the true one. Unfortunately, this audience member wasn't famous. After posting this post, he was directly labeled as a brainless fan. He was accused of maliciously involving ancient books to whitewash Su Yiyan, and was not worthy of studying ancient books at all. Chapter 6:24. As the saying goes, a fan is better than 10 haters. This was especially true for keyboard warriors and brainless fans who didn't care about the truth. No one believed him when he presented the truth, and he even received a lot of personal attacks. This infuriated the audience, and even the mentors in the audience were infuriated. It just so happened that this tutor was an old urchin who was especially protective of his students. He immediately activated his own interpersonal relationships and pulled people to support his student. Half an hour later, the Ancient Earth Cultural Research Institute forwarded the student's post. However, the person they thanked was Su Yiyan. Ancient Earth Cultural Research Institute, v. Thank you Yinyan's Kitchen for carefully restoring ancient Earth's food culture. I hope you will continue to work hard in the future and work together to add bricks and tiles to ancient culture research. This research institute was different from the one that had repeatedly supported Su Yiyan. It specialized in the study of ancient Earth's cultural classics and intangible heritage. It had many fans who were very curious and fond of ancient Earth's culture. As soon as the official thank you was sent out, many people were stunned. This was especially true for those who had previously vowed that Yeni Restaurant was a well-known restaurant and couldn't possibly be worse than an internet celebrity food anchor. If the officials directly supported this food anchor, wasn't this indirectly proving that the anchor's fish-flavored shredded pork was the real ancient Earth's fish-flavored shredded pork, and that the restaurant was just pretending to be dog meat? Wuxian watched this dramatic development and breathed a sigh of relief. At the same time, he felt a little regretful. TSK, this is really a slap in the face for the officials. Our young madam is amazing. She has a wide range of fans and many of them are talented people. There's no place for us to show our talents. The employee who had shouted for him to wait looked at Wuxian with a pale face and said with a complicated expression, "Boss, if the boss heard what you said, do you think he would put shoes on you?" Wuxian's expression suddenly froze. He said angrily, "Put shoes on my ass. If it wasn't you or me, who would know? If my shoes were put on me, it would definitely be because of a traitor like you." The employee shrank his neck and said timidly, "The boss is my boss's boss. Even if I really did tip him off, I wouldn't be considered a traitor." Wuxian. I have nothing to say. This slap in the face came so fast and so fiercely that Lu Jinjing didn't even have time to react before he was stepped on. Before Lu Jinjing could figure out how this streamer, who didn't even dare to show her face, had so much power to make these official accounts stand up for him again and again. His position as the manager of the southern branch had already been taken down. Lu Jinjing's and Hez's and felt regretful for the first time. Lu Jinjing's, Wuxian's, Us's. What are you doing? Lu Jinfeng had a bad feeling and subconsciously took a few steps back. However, he was quickly restrained by the group of people. He twisted his arms and pressed them against the table in the mausoleum, unable to move. Why will he tease? Teat why will T S's S. Chapter 625. Lu Jinjing trembled when he heard that. He looked at the man in surprise with fear in his eyes. After a few seconds, he reacted and struggled to beg for mercy. I was wrong. I was wrong. I won't dare to do it again. Please forgive me this time. I really know that I was wrong. Please forgive me. The man glanced at him contemptuously and said to the bodyguards in black, break his hand. In a few words, Lu Jinjing's fate had been decided. Lu Jinjing's eyes narrowed and he struggled even harder. If it was just a dismissal, he could still use his hands and his cooking skills to make money to support his family. Even if he couldn't stay in a city, it would be good to go back to the countryside and open a restaurant. But now the boss asked people to break his hand. It was clear that he was ready to completely cut off his way out. From now on, he was afraid that he would have no way to make a comeback. Lu Jinjing kept struggling and begging for mercy, but in the end he couldn't soften the man's heart. A moment later, a high-pitched scream suddenly came from the restaurant. It scared the passers-by outside and they hurriedly turned around and bypassed this inexplicably terrible place. Solved? Cripple his hand and drive him out. Liu respectfully stands beside Do Yi and says in a low voice. Do Yi narrowed his eyes and his expression was uncertain. After a long time he spat out 3 words, too stupid. Liu's heart trembled. Wasn't it too stupid? In their young master's restaurant, he dared to fool around and use his power for personal gain. If he didn't mess with him, who would he mess with? In fact, if it was only because of this incident, Lu Jinjing's end would not be as miserable as it was now. He was unlucky because he underestimated the power of this online streamer and provoked people who shouldn't be provoked. Not only did he fail, but his subordinates also happened to find out that he was related to Lu Dachui, the manager of the Fragrance of Manlu, who had used despicable means to maliciously report the carnival hall. Because of this relationship, Lu Jinjing had a grudge with this streamer. When he saw the comments on the internet, he was impulsive and wanted to use the restaurant's influence to solve his personal grievances, which caused the reputation of He restaurant to be damaged. And that was not the most fatal thing. The main reason why he ended up in such a miserable state was that he secretly gave some of his best dishes to his nephew, Lu Dachui, so that he could open the Manlu Incense restaurant. Although that restaurant was nothing compared to the He restaurant, the restaurant had its own rules. Once the chefs of Hai restaurant were hired, their culinary skills could not be spread outside unless they resigned. Putting aside what happened after he left his post when he was still in office, it was clearly forbidden to pass on his skills to him. Lu Jinjing had already violated a big taboo when he was aware of it. Now that he was involved in the private use of public resources, he was really digging his own grave. Do Yi hates useless people, but he hates people who bring him trouble. Lu Jinjing is one of them. His end can be imagined. Do Yi wouldn't spend too much effort on a useless person who had already been abandoned. After confirming that his subordinates had solved the problem, Do Yi shifted his attention to the online streamer who had damaged their restaurant's reputation. The appearance of the Ancient Earth Culture Research Institute made many people begin to talk about the origin of Su Yiyan. From the institute and the testing department personally certified the ancient earth medicinal herbs, to the source of the food culture this time. Although Su Yiyan had repeatedly declared that she was just an ordinary person in the live broadcast, there were still many people who expressed extreme curiosity about her origin. Chapter 626. Some people even thought that she might have come from a scholarly family, a hidden clan that had been passed down for thousands of years. Otherwise, how could her family have so many books that recorded ancient Earth? The reason why she didn't show up was that she wanted to keep a low profile. While doing what she liked, she wanted to protect her family from being disturbed. Many people knew this, but because of their own curiosity, they wanted to dig out her identity. For this reason, they didn't hesitate to use some outrageous means. Of course, these means didn't really have any effect. They were strangled in the cradle by Zui Yanbai and others. Do Yi looked at the comments about Su Yiyan on the internet, as well as the shares of the lucky audience who had been to the restaurant or the live broadcast room. His eyes flashed and he couldn't help but be a little interested in this mysterious woman. In particular, this woman had a conflict with Wen Jingping before, and she had the upper hand. And if one looked carefully, they would find that the beginning of Wen Jingping's troubles seemed to be this woman. Was this woman more capable than Wen Jingping? Was her medicinal diet more effective than Wen Jingping's food? Dou Yi was thinking about whether Su Yiyan or Wen Jingping was more valuable, when one of the parties involved appeared at the door. Wen Jingping had just returned from outside when she heard about the incident at Hei restaurant. After understanding the ins and outs of the matter, Wen Jingping's face turned pale. She had suspected that this food anchor who suddenly appeared and didn't show her face was also a transmigrator like her. Now she saw her talking about shredded pork with garlic sauce, and saw the research institute stand up for her. Wen Jingping was more and more certain that this woman was also a transmigrator like her. This knowledge made Wen Jingping panic instantly. How could there be two transmigrators in this world? Could it be that she had been thinking too much all this time? The reason why God let her transmigrate to this place wasn't to let her change her destiny? No, it couldn't be like this. It definitely couldn't be like this. If her transmigration was really of no use to him, why would he spend so much effort to let her live another life? Why would he? Wen Jingping's hands, which were hanging by her side, subconsciously tightened. Her sharp fingernails almost pierced her palms to the point of bleeding. So what if she was also a transmigrator? As long as he killed her, as long as he killed her. Wen Jingping's face turns ferocious. She doesn't want to go upstairs. She bumps into Dou Yi and Liu talking about the internet. The alarm bells in Wen Jingping's heart rang loudly, and the uneasiness in her heart suddenly rose to the peak. Wen Jingping is very clear why Dou Yi keeps her by his side. If that woman. When Dou Yi saw Wen Jingping, his eyes flashed with a trace of surprise. But he quickly calmed down. He raised his hand and beckoned her to come to his side. Wen Jingping pursed her lips and walked up to him, taking the initiative to hold his hand. Why are you back so early today? Teacher Xia has something to do today, so she asked me to come back first. Dou Yi didn't care about what happened to Teacher Xia and left early. Instead, he reminded Wen Jingping in a low voice, Teacher Xia is the best teacher in Hai Yi. You should learn from her so that you won't have to suffer so much when you start working. Wen Jingping's face slightly changed. She cleverly said, I know. I will work hard to learn. Then she seemed to think of something and said, I heard from the housekeeper that you are somewhat unhappy today. Chapter 627. A cold glint flashed in Dou Tiany's eyes, but he said, well, something happened at one of our restaurant branches, but it has been resolved. I just took a look and it seems to be related to a live streamer on Chu. Dou Tiany glanced at her and said calmly, it was a branch manager who didn't handle it well and was caught. Wen Jingping lowered her head and whispered, I think, it's not that simple. It's not that simple? Dou Tiany looked at her with great interest. You mean this might not be just a problem with my subordinates? Yes. Wen Jingping showed a troubled and tangled expression. She hesitated for a moment before saying, in fact, I used to be a live streamer on Chu for a while to save money for tuition and living expenses. Before this live streamer appeared, I was still a newbie live streamer promoted by the gourmet section of this live streaming platform. Dou Tiany raised his eyebrows. Then why didn't you continue to live stream later? Instead, you went to the entertainment industry? Wen Jingping pursed her lips and was a little sad. When she first joined the website, I happened to accept a variety show and stopped broadcasting for a while. When I had time to go online, I received a reminder from some of my live stream viewers, saying that someone was deliberately imitating my live stream and copying some of the dishes I had streamed in my live stream room. I was very angry at the time, so I warned her online. I didn't expect. What? I didn't expect this person to have such a strong background. She turned black and white and said that I deliberately scammed her to make her popular. She even found people from the research institute to support her. At that time, I was just an ordinary live streamer on the platform. How could I compete with a behemoth like the research institute? Wen Jingping's eyes immediately turned red when she said this. She looked like a weak and pitiful person who was bullied by the strong. It didn't take long for the platform to terminate my contract. They also withheld all the income one earned from live streams, saying that I violated the company's rules and tarnished the reputation of the platform. They asked me to pay compensation. Not only will I not be able to get the money that originally belonged to me, but I will also have to pay a large sum of money to the platform. Dou Tiany didn't say anything. Wen Jingping gritted her teeth and continued, later, I realized that something was wrong. I wanted to look for the fans who reminded me of the plagiarism, but I found. Dou Tiany looked at her with interest. What did you find? I discovered that those people seemed to have evaporated into thin air. Dou Tiany saw through her thoughts at a glance. He smiled faintly and said, Are you suspecting that those people approached you with a purpose and deliberately provoked the conflict between you and her so that you would find trouble with her? Wen Jingping was silent for a while and then said in a hoarse voice, I just feel that what happened that time is a bit similar to what you encountered this time. Wen Jingping was vague, but she vaguely hinted that Dou Qianni's matter was very likely to be a good show directed and acted by someone. Whether it was her or Dou Qianni's store manager, they had all been fooled. Dou Qianni's face darkened slightly and he said coldly, I understand. I will get someone to investigate it clearly. Wen Jingping thought that he believed her words and was ready to find trouble with the little streamer. A happy smile flashed across her eyes. Then you continue to talk with Minister Li. I will go and cook first. Go. Dou Qianni let go of Wen Jingping's hand and watched her leave. As soon as she left, Dou Qianni's face darkened. Do you believe her words? Liu was stunned. She subconsciously glanced at Dou Qianni and said tactfully, the people at the research institute are not stupid. They would personally stand up for a woman's performance. Chapter 628. If Liu could see it, how could Dou Qianni not see it? The more Wen Jingping smeared Su Yiyan's name in front of him, the more Dou Qianni was interested in this little streamer. Medicinal cuisine? Dou Qianni chewed on the word and pondered for a long time. Suddenly he said, get someone to bring a portion of this streamer's so-called medicinal cuisine over. Liu froze for a moment and said awkwardly, the medicinal cuisine in her restaurant is 1 serving per person. It can't be taken out. Dou Qianni turned to look at him when he heard that. Liu's heart trembled and his lips trembled. He couldn't say a word. After a long time, Dou Qianni spoke again, if the restaurant can't take it out, can't you think of another way? Another way? You mean, the lucky draw in her live broadcast room? Dou Qianni didn't say anything. Liu knew that this was indeed a way, but this streamer's live broadcast room had tens of millions of viewers. It was very difficult to be favored by the goddess of luck and become 1 in 10 million. The only way was to try to get the lucky viewers to transfer the food to them. However, this would probably take a lot of effort and money. As if he could read Liu's mind, Dou Qianni glanced at him and added, no matter the cost. With this guarantee, Liu breathed a sigh of relief and promised, I understand. I'll get someone to keep an eye on this live broadcast room. When she broadcasts next time, we'll definitely bring it back. Okay. Dou Qianni's face was expressionless. His eyes were deep and no one could see through his true thoughts. He didn't care what kind of grudge this woman had with Wen Jingping, but before that he had to figure out if this woman's medicinal cuisine was really as magical as the people on the internet said. Su Yiyan slept for a very long time. When she woke up, the sky was almost dark. She had slept through a meaningless dispute. Huo Chenhuan had woken up a long time ago, but seeing that she was sleeping soundly, he didn't move. He just watched her sleeping face from the side until she woke up. When Su Yiyan woke up, she looked at the sky outside as if she had just woken up from a dream. She was a little surprised. Why is the sky already dark? What time is it? It'll be dinner soon. Su Yiyan was completely awakened by his words. Have you had dinner? Then didn't I sleep for 3 to 4 hours? You only found out now? Huo Chenhuan reached out and pinched her nose. Someone is sleeping like a little pig. My hand is numb from the pillow. Su Yiyan blushed and mumbled embarrassedly, why didn't you call me? I can't bear to see you sleeping so soundly. How's your hand? I'll rub it for you. Su Yiyan took Huo Chenhuan's battered hand and massaged it while scolding, really, you don't even know how to move when I'm asleep. Aren't you afraid that your hand will be crippled after being my pillow for so long? In the end, she couldn't help but glare at Huo Chenhuan. Huo Chenhuan wasn't angry. He was in a good mood and joked with her. Even if my hand is crippled, I still have you, right? Su Yiyan's injured hand suddenly paused, and the blush on her face quickly spread from her cheeks to her neck. Can't you be serious? I'm not serious. Huo Chenhuan was stunned for a few seconds before he realized the meaning of Su Yiyan's words. The smile in his eyes became more obvious. What are you thinking about? I mean, you can cure my leg. Even if my hand is crippled, you can also cure it. Literally. Your reaction is so big. Could it be that you thought of something strange? Chapter 629. Su Yiyan looked into Huo Chenhuan's eyes and finally got angry out of humiliation. She flung his hand away, pushed him forward, and got off the bed first. Huo Chenhuan knew when to stop and didn't tease her anymore. He got up and straightened his clothes before going back to the front yard with her. Qin Shueru saw the two of them come out and looked at them a few times. She said with a smile that wasn't a smile, "You're up?" Su Yiyan avoided her probing eyes and quickly changed the topic. "Where's Grandpa and Uncle?" "Your uncle went out to buy something. As for Grandpa, he took Dun Dun out for a walk a while ago. They should be back soon." Chow 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 chow. Just as the two of them mentioned Old Master Cheng, a familiar barking sound came from outside. They looked in the direction of the sound and saw Dun Dun running in with his short legs. Behind him was Old Master Cheng, who was leisurely driving the dog with the leash. "Go go 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 quickly. Tieske, this is the bad thing about having short legs. You can't run fast." Su Yiyan and the others, Dun Dun with short legs. "It's bad enough that you ran away, but you're saying that your legs are short. You're going too far." The man and the dog finally made it into the house after being dragged along. Dun Dun spread his legs and fell forward, becoming a dog biscuit on the ground. Old Master Cheng couldn't help but scold it again. "You're getting lazier and lazier. Previously you were very active when I took you out to play. You ran all over the place and I couldn't stop you. Today you just went out for a walk and you can't run anymore. I even had to drag you back." "Really?" Old Master Cheng squatted beside Dun Dun and looked at him carefully. He clicked his tongue and said, "I think you've gotten fat because of the good food these few months. Look at your body. You've gotten fatter than last time. I couldn't even carry you when I wanted to. You're a dog, so why are you so fat? You're not a pig. You must lose weight. And Fong, don't give him meat tonight. Just prepare some vegetables." Woof. Woof woof woof. It was fine that he was despised for having short legs, but now he was personally attacking his body in race. The worst thing was that his dinner was being deducted. He couldn't live like this. Old Master Cheng seemed to have heard Richard's complaint. He looked at Richard meaningfully and said seriously, "If you want to eat meat, you can go out with me every morning and night. Run more often and you should be able to lose weight." Woof. Dun Dun barked and wanted to protest, but Su Yiyan had already squatted beside it and reached out to pinch the back of its neck. As he touched her, he advised, "Be good. Grandpa took you out for a walk because he loves you. You can't have your cake and eat it too. If you don't want to eat, then go out for a walk." Old Masters love love love, olds that's olds, S's to Dun Dun of as a dog he as to. Dun Dun, who was brought to this place and forced to lose weight, felt hopeless. He hugged himself tightly and missed his wife who was thousands of kilometers away. The few of them played with the dog for a while. Cheng Juanhao came back with his shopping. Qin Shueru saw that Su Yiyan had slept for a long time in the afternoon. She guessed that she must be tired after cooking so many dishes in the afternoon. Qin Shueru didn't let her into the kitchen at night. She only asked Aunt Fong to heat up the leftover food and add some braised food that was added after lunch. Chapter 630. After the family had dinner, Qin Shueru suddenly said, "You young people shouldn't stay at home all the time. There's a lantern festival at the market tonight. Yen Yen, bring Chen Huan over to take a look and broaden his horizons." "Lantern festival?" Hua Chen Huan looked curious. Su Yiyan's eyes lit up. "Yes, there's a lantern festival today. It's a very lively festival here. Many single boys and girls will participate. If you meet a boy or girl you like at the festival, you will hand over the lantern in your hand. If the other party has a good impression of you, they will accept your lantern." Hua Chen Huan's face darkened. What lantern festival? It was clearly a large-scale blind date. Su Yiyan turned her head and saw his dark face. She was still a little confused. Then she thought of what she had just said and quickly reacted. Actually, it's not just single men and women. Many couples will participate as well. There are many activities at the festival. We can go to the moat to release river lanterns and make wishes. We can also go to the hillside to watch fireworks. It's very fun. Su Yiyan looked at Hua Chen Huan eagerly. It was as if she was saying, "Go, go, I want to go." Hua Chen Huan couldn't resist her pleading and finally nodded. Qin Shueru watched with great interest. She smiled and said, "Don't listen to Yen Yen's nonsense. Although there are many young people at the Lantern Festival, there are also many old people and children. Yen Yen loved to pester the old man to take her out to play when she was young. When it comes to the Lantern Festival, she will have fun. There are many people at the Lantern Festival. Chen Huan, you have to hold Yen Yen well. Don't lose her." Su Yiyan was provoked. She shouted angrily, "Aunt, I'm not a child anymore." Qin Shueru couldn't help but laugh. She said perfunctorily, "Yes, yes, yes. You're not a child anymore." Hua Chen Huan also joined in. He held Su Yiyan's hand tightly and said seriously, "Don't worry. I'll hold her well. I won't lose her." "Alright, go, go," Qin Shueru said as she pushed the two young men out of the door. The Lantern Festival was not far from the Cheng family's house, and it was only a 10-minute walk. The two of them walked side by side, and they could see the rows of beautiful lights from afar. "When did you come here often with your grandfather?" "Not often, just once or twice. At the Lantern Festival, fireworks would be set off at 8 or 9 o'clock. I liked watching fireworks. Every time I heard the commotion, I would make a fuss about coming over to play. There are many people at the Lantern Festival, so my grandfather was naturally worried about me running around alone. He could only reluctantly bring me here himself." Su Yiyan missed that period of time and felt a little regretful. Later on, Grandpa got older and older. Uncle and the others were worried that there would be too many people at the Lantern Festival. It would be too crowded and easy for people to bump into each other. It was really inconvenient for the two of us, so they didn't let us go. Hua Qinhuan's heart softened. She promised in a low voice, "I'll accompany you in the future." "Of course you have to accompany me. Otherwise, do you want me to come alone?" Hua Qinhuan immediately understood the meaning behind her words. She couldn't help but tighten her grip on Su Yiyan's hand. It was impossible for her to come to such a large-scale lantern festival alone. It was impossible in this lifetime. The Lantern Festival was surrounded by lanterns and colored banners. There were also people selling colored lanterns everywhere. Su Yiyan and Su Yiyan bought two animal-shaped colored lanterns. One was a rabbit and the other was a tiger. It seemed like it was Hua Qinhuan's first time coming into contact with such a cute toy. She felt awkward while holding it in her hand. Chapter 631. Su Yiyan could tell at a glance, but she didn't expose him. She was having a hard time holding back her laughter. Just as Su Yiyan said, there were many young people at the Lantern Festival. There were a few girls or boys who were together, and there were also couples who came together. There were men and women of all ages, but there were relatively more single men and women. For this reason, many stalls set up couples to compete for prizes. It gave some young people who had a crush on each other but didn't know how to say it out loud an excuse to form a temporary team. Su Yiyan and Su Yiyan walked forward with the lanterns in their hands. Then they heard a commotion not far away. They took a closer look. It turned out that a stall was having an event. It wasn't a special event. It was just shooting balloons. There were 10 bullets. The more balloons they hit, the more generous the prize. Most of the prizes were different types of lanterns. The highest prize was a very beautiful lotus lantern. It was very big and there were silver patterns on the petals. If it could be lit up and placed in the river, it would reflect the ripples of the water. It would be very beautiful. When Su Yiyan saw the lotus lantern, she couldn't take her eyes off it. Hua Qinhuan's eyes flashed and she took the initiative to pull her over. "You." Su Yiyan was stunned for a moment. She staggered forward with Hua Qinhuan. When the stall owner saw the two of them, his eyes lit up. He took the initiative to ask, "Do the two of you want to try?" Hua Qinhuan glanced at him and went straight to the point. "The first prize is that lotus lantern?" "Yes, but you have to hit all 10 of them." Hua Qinhuan nodded and confirmed the prize. She immediately spent money to buy 2 sets of bullets. Su Yiyan finally reacted. She pulled Hua Qinhuan's clothes and asked in a low voice, "What are you doing? This game is very deceptive." Hua Qinhuan looked at her and smiled faintly. "You like that lotus lantern?" "What do I like? Are you going to find it for me?" "As long as you want it, I will find it for you." It was undeniable that Su Yiyan was struck by Rao's sugar-coated bullet and was a little stunned. By the time she realized what was going on, Hua Qinhuan had already started shooting balloons. This kind of balloon shooting activity seemed simple, but in fact, it was very difficult for people who had not touched the wooden warehouse to find the right direction at the beginning. Many of the balloons on the board were deliberately blown up, which imperceptibly created a certain level of difficulty for the customers. Several people had tried before and there were many who could hit the target, but there was no cherry blossom who could hit all 10 shots. Hua Qinhuan and Zhang Ziyan were good-looking. As soon as they came over, they attracted a lot of attention. However, at this time many people were only attracted by their appearance. They believed that this was another fat sheep with a lot of money trying to please his girlfriend. However, they were soon slapped in the face. Hua Qinhuan's posture was very proper. Even though she was holding a toy in her hand, she still gave off an imposing aura. Usually, in this kind of situation they were either trying to act cool and had no strength or they had really played it before. Hua Qinhuan was obviously the latter. His shooting speed was very fast and he did not need to aim at all. In the time that everyone was stunned, he had already shot 5 or 6 shots and all of them hit. The people around them seemed to have woken up from a dream. Even the stall owner was surprised. However, it was not that no one had started well before. It was normal to miss 1 or 2 shots towards the end. The stall owner quickly adjusted his facial expression. Like everyone else, he nervously looked at Huo, waiting for his last few shots. Chapter 632. 7, 8, 9, 10. Everyone on the side silently counted the number in their hearts. When the last shot landed, the balloon exploded with a loud bang. The crowd couldn't help but exclaim, "He did it! He did it!" The exclamations were filled with regret and amazement. It was a pity that the beautiful lantern had fallen into someone else's hands, but at the same time, they were happy to be able to see who got the lantern with their own eyes. The stall owner didn't expect this tall and handsome young man to take away the biggest prize in his shop. He was stunned for a few seconds before he regretfully took down the biggest lotus flower lantern and handed it to Huo. Huo took the lotus flower lantern and immediately handed it to Su Yiyan. Unsurprisingly, the surrounding girls exclaimed in envy. A few of them even pinched their boyfriends to vent their dissatisfaction. Su Yiyan still hadn't recovered from the shock of her man being so amazing. She looked at the lantern that was almost in front of her, then looked at Huo's shining eyes, which faintly showed that he was asking for credit. She smiled slightly and took the lantern. "Thank you. It's very beautiful. I'm glad you like it." Huo wanted to pull Su Yiyan away. Su Yiyan grabbed him and smiled faintly. "We'll go play with the lanterns later. Do you want to choose one too?" Huo was stunned. He turned his head and glanced at the stall. The stall owner's hair stood on end. He was afraid that this guy would be so happy that he would buy all the gifts in his shop. Huo's eyes circled around the lanterns and finally fixed on a lotus flower lantern that was similar to Su Yiyan's lantern, but it was a full circle. This lantern only needed 5 shots to take it away. Huo didn't hesitate and shot 5 balloons as fast as he could. He didn't shoot the rest and directly asked the stall owner to give him the lantern. After successfully sending the couple away, the stall owner wiped the sweat off his forehead. He was glad that the two of them did not stay for too long, but at the same time, his heart ached for the first prize that had been taken away. Su Yiyan had only taken 1 large flower lantern, and it was first come, first served. Because of this, the stall owner lost a portion of his customers. However, due to Huo's perfect accuracy, some of the spectators had the misconception that, "This game is so simple, I can do it too." This, in turn, attracted some customers for the stall owner. After balancing it out, the stall owner's loss was not that great. Su Yiyan happily held the big lantern that her man had won for her. She giggled and asked curiously, "How did you know how to play this? And you're playing so well." "I studied at my uncle's place for a while." "Uncle again?" Su Yiyan's footsteps paused for a moment, but he quickly returned to his original state. He said casually, "You must have practiced for a long time to hit so accurately, right?" "Not bad, 2 or 3 years. 2 or 3 years. These 2 or 3 years were definitely not after his accident. A 12 or 13-year-old boy could have such accuracy after practicing for 2 or 3 years. Most importantly, after so many years he was still not rusty at all." Su Yiyan looked at him with sparkling eyes and giggled. "You're really good." Huo was praised by her. He stopped in his tracks and the tips of his ears quickly turned red. He secretly thought that in the dating strategy, occasionally showing your strengths in front of your spouse, girlfriend, without batting an eyelid would make her love you more. It seemed that it made sense. Chapter 633. There were many people at the Lantern Festival. Su Yiyan was holding the big lantern. Not only did she attract a lot of attention, but she was also afraid of being squeezed. After hesitating for a moment, she decided to set off the 2 lanterns first. "The fireworks will start in an hour. I'll go to the moat to set off the lanterns first and then watch the fireworks." Huo didn't know the process of the Lantern Festival. Naturally, she followed whatever Su Yiyan said. When the 2 of them happily walked to the moat, there were already a lot of people there. Lanterns were placed into the moat one after another, swaying back and forth, bringing up bits of starlight that reflected in the moat. From afar it looked like a silver ribbon. Su Yiyan didn't bring anything to light a fire, so they could only borrow a light from the people next to them. "How do we do this?" Su Yiyan looked at Hua Chenhuan holding the lantern with a serious expression as if he was facing a formidable enemy. She almost could not help but laugh out loud. First, light up the lanterns inside, then make a wish. Put them in the moat and let them float away with the current. Can this wish come true? There is such a saying. Su Yiyan looked up at Hua Chenhuan and smiled faintly. Do you want to try? Okay. The two lit the lanterns in their hands, closed their eyes and made a wish. Su Yiyan only had one wish, so she quickly made it. She secretly opened one eye to look at the person next to her. When she saw that Hua Chenhuan was about to open his eyes, she quickly closed it again. She pretended to open her eyes later than him and pulled him to the moat. Wait. Hua Chenhuan glanced at the slightly high bank and the moat, which she couldn't see the depth of. She took the lantern in Su Yiyan's hand and whispered, I'll go. You wait here. Su Yiyan was stunned for a moment, but she didn't refuse. She took out her phone and wanted to take a picture of this scene for her collection. However, as soon as she took out her phone and pointed the camera in Hua Chenhuan's direction, a message automatically popped up. Su Yiyan frowned. She clicked on it and found that there were 999 plus private messages in her personal account. Su Yiyan's heart skipped a beat. His first reaction was that something had happened. She clicked on it and found that most of the recent messages were comforting her or apologizing to her, saying that they had accidentally hurt her by following the crowd and that they really shouldn't have done so. They hoped that she could forgive them. She scrolled through the internet and found that most of the comments between 1 p.m. and 2 p.m. were scolding her. They scolded her for being shameless and ungrateful for taking advantage of other people's popularity, plagiarizing other people's work, and even claiming to be a thief. Plagiarizing the results of others? Su Yiyan was confused and simply went online to check his name. Only then did he roughly understand the ins and outs of the matter. Su Yiyan's eyes flashed with a trace of surprise. She didn't expect that so many things had happened on the internet while she was sleeping. After the Ancient Earth Cultural Research Institute came forward, the Hai restaurant quickly responded. The person involved, who was the chef of the branch that made the fish-flavored shredded pork with fish, was officially fired. They also permanently removed the fish-flavored shredded pork with fish from the shelves. They also apologized to Su Yiyan, who was involved in this matter. Su Yiyan frowned slightly. Her intuition told her that this matter was not simple. Sure enough, she found a private message from the Hai restaurant among the numerous private messages. This private message was sincerely worded. First, they apologized to her for the branch manager's matter and offered to give her some compensation. Then, perhaps because she didn't reply, they sent another message, saying that they hoped to cooperate with her. It was a win-win situation. Chapter 634. No matter what, Hai restaurant was still a big restaurant. Although its reputation had been damaged due to this incident, its reputation had declined. The main store reacted quickly by cutting off its tail like a gecko and quickly stabilized most of the customers who were wavering. For such a big restaurant, if an ordinary streamer or even a restaurant manager received such an olive branch, they might have agreed. However, Su Yiyan was not an ordinary streamer, and developing the restaurant was not her main purpose. Instead, Hai restaurant's goodwill made her feel like a weasel paying a visit to a chicken. She unconsciously raised her guard. Why are you in a daze? When Hua Chenhuan came back, he saw Su Yiyan holding her phone in a daze. Nothing. Su Yiyan quickly put away her phone and naturally held Hua Chenhuan's hand. She did not want these messy things to disturb their date today. Have you put it away? Hua Chenhuan nodded and raised his hand to point in a direction. It's over there. Su Yiyan's lantern was too big. Even in the middle of the densely packed lanterns, it was still a crane in a flock of chickens. It could be seen at a glance. The two continued to walk forward hand in hand. Hua Chenhuan suddenly asked, What did you wish for just now? Then what did you wish for just now? Hua Chenhuan was silent for a moment and said in a muffled voice, I asked first. Su Yiyan was a little surprised when she heard his words. One had to know that this person did not have a temper before. Every time she asked, he would obediently answer. This time he actually talked back. Su Yiyan pondered for a moment. In the end she did not compromise. She avoided his eyes and said, Well, if the wish comes out, it won't come true. No. Hua Chenhuan could not help but laugh. He acknowledged her shameless behavior and did not ask any more questions. Walking out of the moat, Su Yiyan saw a candy stall from afar. This kind of craft candy stall had always been the most lively place in the Lantern Festival. Even if the price was more expensive, there were still many people who wanted something new and flocked to it. At this moment, there were already 10 to 20 people in front of the stall. It was quite a spectacular sight. Hua Qinhuan's eyes flickered when she saw this. She asked in a low voice, "Do you want to eat that? There are so many people here. Forget it. Wait for me here." Hua Qinhuan handed the tiger lantern to Su Yiyan and turned around to walk towards the stall. Su Yiyan opened his mouth and wanted to stop him, but he was a step too late. He could only stand there with the two animal lanterns in his hand, secretly anxious. Of course, Hua Qinhuan wasn't stupid enough to line up. The customer at the front of the line had already started making the sugar figurine, so Hua Qinhuan spent money to buy a seat from the second customer. The customer in the second row took the money and went to the back of the line. He didn't force himself to take up an extra seat, so the people behind him didn't object. Su Yiyan saw this scene and felt a little relieved. She obediently stood in place and waited for him to come back. Hua Qinhuan was tall and handsome. When he bought the seat, he was very generous. In an instant, he attracted the attention of many girls around him. When he got the two lifelike sugar figurines and was about to go back, a girl suddenly stood in front of him with a blushing face. Under the encouragement of her friends, she shyly handed over the lantern in her hand. Su Yiyan was bored from waiting. When she looked up and saw this scene, her face turned green on the spot. What was wrong with this woman? Was she trying to steal her man in front of her? Chapter 635. Hua Qinhuan was also stunned by this sudden turn of events. Looking at the lantern in the other party's hand, she immediately remembered what Su Yiyan had said before she left. Her eyes turned cold as she said coldly, "You're blocking my way." The shy girl's smile suddenly froze. Her eyes widened as she looked at the person in front of her in disbelief. However, she realized that the other party didn't even look at her. Instead, he walked to the side and walked away without any hesitation. The surrounding raffles gazes fell on the girl like sharp thorns. The girl's face turned green. In the end, she couldn't take it anymore and ran away while covering her face. Su Yiyan's expression became better. Just as she was about to go up to her, she was surrounded by a few hooligans. "Sister, are you alone? It's so boring to be alone at such a lively lantern festival. Do you want to join us?" Su Yiyan's face darkened. She avoided the leader's outstretched hand and sneered, "I'm sorry, but I'm married." Su Yiyan even raised her hand to reveal the diamond ring on her finger. It was so dazzling that it almost blinded their eyes. As expected, the few of them were stunned. However, the leader still had some doubts. He frowned and said, "Sister, if you don't want to, you don't have to use such an excuse." "All right then, I'll stand up straight. I don't want to. Please don't disturb my date with my husband." "Thank you." The faces of the men changed. "Your husband?" As soon as they finished speaking, they heard a frosty voice ask from behind them, "What do you want to do to my wife?" The faces of the men suddenly changed. They turned around and saw Hua Qinhuan's face, which was as black as the bottom of a pot. Hua Qinhuan was still holding two sugar figurines in his hand. Logically speaking, he should look very down to earth. However, the aura around him was too terrifying. It made people feel that he wasn't holding sugar figurines, but a machete that could cut all of them into pieces at any time. The leader of the men swallowed hard. At least he had some eyesight. He said embarrassedly, "Sorry to disturb you. We'll leave immediately. We'll leave immediately." After that, he didn't care about the others' reactions. He turned around and ran. The few people who came with him were stunned for a moment before they hurriedly ran after him. Although he had left, Hua Qinhuan's face was still dark. Su Yiyan took the initiative to step forward and asked with a smile, "Where are my sugar figurines?" Hua Qinhuan took the woman's sugar figurine out, but Su Yiyan waved her hand and took the man's sugar figurine. This master's skills are not bad. The sugar figurines that he drew are similar to the two of us. Although Hua Qinhuan agreed with Su Yiyan's words, she was still sulking and did not say anything. Su Yiyan was annoyed and amused at the same time. She helplessly coaxed, "All right, don't be angry. I didn't even care about that woman's confession to you." "A woman confessed to me?" Su Yiyan was stunned and didn't know whether to laugh or cry. "Didn't a woman hand you a lantern just now? Isn't that a confession?" Hua Qinhuan furrowed his brows and said with disdain, "I ignored her. I ignored them just now as well. Look, I even showed off our wedding rings." Su Yiyan even waved her hand to let him see the diamond ring on her finger. Then, as if she thought of something, she pouted and muttered, "You should also show off our wedding rings just now and let that woman know how difficult it is and back off." Su Yiyan saw that her husband had asked the sugar figurine master to make 2 sugar figurines, one male and one female. She didn't believe that woman couldn't guess that Huo Chenhuan was already taken. Chapter 636. She knew that he had someone, but she still came up to him and confessed with a shy and timid face. She was most familiar with this kind of white lotus. Huo Chenhuan looked at Su Yiyan's burning eyes, and the anger in his heart miraculously subsided a lot. He asked, "Are you jealous?" "So what?" Su Yiyan glared at Huo Chenhuan fiercely, showing her steel teeth and threatening, "You attract bees and butterflies. Next time I will, what will you do?" "I will lock you up and not let anyone see you." Huo Chenhuan's eyes flashed and disappeared. "Okay." Su Yiyan was stunned. "What?" "I'm fine." Huo Chenhuan approached Su Yiyan and held her in his arms. He lowered his head and pressed against her forehead, making it impossible for her to escape. "Something like this happens again, you will lock me up and not let anyone see me. On the other hand, if something like this happens again, I will also hide you and not let anyone covet you." Su Yiyan looked at his serious eyes in a daze. Her intuition told her that he was not joking. He really wanted to hide her. Su Yiyan's face suddenly turned red. She lowered her eyes and avoided Huo Chenhuan's eyes, not daring to look at him. She missed the dangerous look on Huo Chenhuan's face as he asked, "Are you scared?" "Who's afraid of who?" "It's settled. If something like this happens again, I will lock you up." Su Yiyan was ambitious. She felt that compared to her, Huo Chenhuan was more likely to be coveted. If Huo Chenhuan was not afraid, what was there for her to be afraid of? Huo Chenhuan showed a smile again. "Okay." Su Yiyan, who didn't realize that he had fallen into a wolf's den, took a deep breath. While eating the candy, he smiled faintly and said, "Let's not talk about this. I just heard the sound of fireworks. Let's hurry over. We won't be able to see it if we're late." Su Yiyan pulled Huo Chenhuan and walked forward. The place where the fireworks were set off was not far from the lantern fair. However, the positions closer to the fireworks had long been occupied by the foreigners who came to join in the fun. Even if they went there now, it would be useless. They could not squeeze to the front. Su Yiyan brought Huo Chenhuan to the other side of the hill. This was the place she and old Master Cheng had accidentally discovered. Not only could they see the fireworks from here, but there were also stone stools on the mountain path that could accommodate 2 people. "This place has a good view, right? Not only can you see the fireworks, but when the fireworks show ends, you can also see the stars. I was the one who discovered it." If Su Yiyan had a tail, it would probably be wagging. This place is great." Su Yiyan smiled contentedly. She leaned on Huo Chenhuan's shoulder and focused on watching the fireworks. When they came up, the fireworks had already been set off for a while. Fortunately, the truly beautiful fireworks had only just started. Other than the most common flower-shaped fireworks, there were also tree-shaped ones, waterfalls, and even 1 or 2 animal-shaped fireworks. There was everything that one could think of. It was too beautiful to behold. The fireworks went on for about half an hour before it stopped. When the entire fireworks show ended, it was only a little over 9 o'clock. The 2 of them didn't want to go back so early, so they sat on the stone stools and looked at the stars for a while. Su Yiyan leaned on Huo Chenhuan's shoulder and looked at the twinkling stars in the night sky. She couldn't help but reminisce. "In the past, every time I went out to look at the stars with Grandpa, he would always follow me. Every star we went up to was a person who had already passed away. My grandparents and grandmother are all watching me from above. If I'm not doing well, they'll be sad too." Chapter 637. After finishing her words, Su Yiyan keenly felt the change in Huo Chenhuan's expression. His originally soft face became stiff for a moment. Silence spread between the 2. After a long time, Su Yiyan heard the person beside her reply in a hoarse voice, "You're right." Su Yiyan smiled slightly and took the initiative to hold Huo Chenhuan's slightly cold hand. She asked tentatively, "Do you believe in reincarnation?" "I didn't before, but for you, I'm willing to believe." Su Yiyan's heart trembled. For a moment, she almost thought that Huo Chenhuan knew everything. "What? This lifetime is too short. I still want to be with you in the next lifetime." Su Yiyan breathed a sigh of relief and felt funny at the same time. "You haven't spent much in this lifetime, but you're thinking about the next lifetime?" "I'm not only thinking about the next lifetime, but also about many lifetimes in the future." "According to your method, won't I hang myself on your tree for all my lifetimes?" Hua Qinhuan's tone was a little dangerous. If you don't hang yourself on my tree, which tree do you want to hang yourself on? Su Yiyan curled her lips and did not intend to answer this question. In fact, I've always been curious. What? Why did you fall in love with me? Hua Qinhuan was stunned and looked at Su Yiyan with a little surprise. Don't you remember? He had always thought that the reason why Su Yiyan suddenly wanted to marry him when they broke off the engagement was that she remembered Lianqiu. Now it seemed that it was not? Su Yiyan was also confused. Remember? Remember what? She had always thought that Hua Qinhuan's love for her in the early days should be one-sided peeping and secret love. Now, listening to his words, it seemed that they had crossed paths before, and this intersection was many years ago. Did I meet Hua Qinhuan at that time? How did they meet? What happened? Su Yiyan couldn't recall what had happened at that time, and he was extremely curious. However, at this moment, Hua Qinhuan turned around and held Su Yiyan's hand. His large palm effortlessly wrapped around Su Yiyan's hand, which was one size larger than his. He smiled faintly and said, "Wait until you remember." It didn't matter. No matter what the reason was, she was already his. She couldn't run away. Hua Qinhuan, on the other hand, did not take it too seriously. Su Yiyan, on the other hand, was extremely curious and looked at him pitifully. However, this time, Hua Qinhuan seemed determined to make her remember by herself. She turned a blind eye to Su Yiyan's pleas. Su Yiyan was a little disappointed that this trick didn't work. She secretly planned to go back and ask her mother. Maybe she could find some clues. The night before, they watched the fireworks and stars a little late. The next day, Su Yiyan also woke up a little late. When she came out, she saw that the few old grandpas who came to their house yesterday were really here today. They were all fishing with Old Master Cheng in the backyard. Old Master Cheng's face was dark and he didn't say a word. Grandpa Li, on the other hand, kept teasing him. "Old man, why are you so narrow-minded? Didn't I say a few words that you didn't want to hear? You actually blacklisted me. Hurry up and add me back. Hurry up and add me back." Old Master Cheng glared at him, his face full of displeasure. "You want me to add you back? Do you think I don't care about my face?" Su Yiyan and Hua Qinhuan had just walked into the backyard when they heard this. They couldn't help but burst out laughing. Chapter 638. Grandpa Li didn't notice them. Grandpa Cheng's words made him uncomfortable. He muttered, "I've already humbled myself and followed you around. Don't you have enough face for me?" Grandpa Cheng couldn't help but glare at him again. He waved his hand like he was driving a duck and waved him away. "Go, go, go, go. I'm fishing and you're nagging on the side. You're scaring away my fish." Grandpa Li felt wronged and depressed. He said, "With your skills, even if I wasn't here, you still wouldn't be able to catch anything. You still have the nerve to push the blame to me." Grandpa Cheng's face darkened. "You what?" "I didn't do anything." For the sake of better freeloading in the future, he endured it. Su Yiyan watched them bicker with relish before walking over with Hua Qinhuan. "Grandpa, Grandpa Li, Grandpa Zhang, Grandpa Deng, Grandpa Fan, are you fishing? Yin is here." When they saw Su Yiyan, they immediately put on smiles and looked at Su Yiyan with amiable eyes. "This is Yan's girl, right?" Yesterday they came and went in a hurry, so they didn't pay much attention to Hua Qinhuan, who came back with Su Yiyan. Now that they saw Hua Qinhuan and Su Yiyan appear together, they couldn't pretend that they didn't see anything. "He's really good-looking and tall. Yan and him look like a good match. What does this guy's family do?" Yan's grandmother used to be a famous beauty in our area. Among her generation, Yan looks the most like her. Many boys around here like her. It's your blessing to be able to marry her. You have to cherish her. Do we need you to do that? Among us, Old Man Cheng is the most protective. You better behave yourself. If you dare to let Yan down, Old Man Cheng will skin you alive. Hua Qinhuan listened to the joking warnings of the old men. She knew that these people had a good relationship with Old Master Cheng. They had probably watched Su Yiyan grow up, so their warnings might not be a joke. He said good-naturedly, "Grandpas, don't worry. I know how good Yan is. I won't let anyone bully her." Hua Qinhuan's submissive attitude in front of her elders made Su Yiyan feel pity for her. She hastily defended her and said, "Grandpa Deng, don't be blind. My grandfather is not that fierce. My Qinhuan is honest. Don't bully him." If these words were heard by Hua Qinhuan's subordinates, they would probably be taken aback. Their boss, young master, was honest? If he was honest, there would be no dishonest person in this world. Old Man Cheng isn't fierce? Grandpa Li was stunned for a moment. Then he said mercilessly, "Ha ha, that's probably the biggest joke I've heard this year." Old man Cheng was so angry that he hit him with his fishing rod. "Of course I'm not fierce in front of Yen Yen. Don't you know why I'm fierce to you? If it were me with your shameless temper, I'd only be fierce to you. I'm already being extremely benevolent by not hitting you." Grandpa Li, who had already been hit by the rod, was speechless. "You've already hit me. Are you trying to lie through your teeth by not hitting me?" The other grandpas ignored the two old men's bickering. Instead they teased Su Yiyan. "TSK. Look at Yen Yen. He's helping an outsider. I only said a few words and he's already defending her. Isn't that right? Why else would a son not listen to his mother when he's old? Poor old men like us. We're always thinking about our seniors, but we're still being despised." Chapter 639. Su Yiyan blushed at their teasing. She wanted to retort, but she didn't know what to say. Huo Chenhuan smiled and held Su Yiyan's hand tightly. "Yen Yen didn't mean that. She just doesn't like the fact that you're treating her like a child. You don't believe in her choice and judgment." Su Yiyan was stunned. She quickly gave Huo Chenhuan a way out. "Yes, I'm not a child anymore. Grandpa Deng, Grandpa Zhang, don't treat me like a child." Okay. Our Yen Yen is a big girl now. She's not a child anymore." Even so, they still spoke in a coaxing tone. Su Yiyan didn't argue with them. She walked around the pond and asked, "Did you guys catch any fish today?" Grandpa Fan said happily, Yes. Yen Yen, come to Grandpa Fan. Grandpa Fan caught a big fish today." Grandpa Deng didn't want to be outdone. "How is your fish big?" "Mine is really big. It's at least 4 or 5 pounds." Su Yiyan rushed over to take a look. Sure enough, there was a fish in each of their buckets. Grandpa Deng's was slightly bigger. Grandpa Fan's was a little bigger, but it was still about 3 or 4 pounds. As for the others, Grandpa Grandpa Cheng's face turned red. He straightened his neck and said, I also caught a fish today." Su Yiyan's eyes lit up. "Really? Where is it?" "It's here." Old Master Cheng pointed at his bucket weakly. Su Yiyan took a closer look. She saw a fingernail-sized fry lying in the dark blue bucket. Ha. Before Su Yiyan could say anything, Grandpa Li couldn't help but laugh. "You're just a fry. You're not embarrassed to say you caught a fish. Why don't you just set it free? It'll be worth it if I catch it when it's bigger." Old Master Cheng was humiliated by Grandpa Li. His face was as dark as the bottom of a pot. He retorted mercilessly, "No matter what, it's better than someone who didn't catch a single one. Come on, let's hurt each other." Sure enough, when Grandpa Li heard his words, he immediately covered his pierced heart and shut his mouth. When Old Master Cheng saw that Grandpa Li was speechless, the corners of his lips curled up and quickly straightened. He stared at the fry in the bucket gloomily. Huo Chenhuan could tell that the old man was unhappy. She rolled her eyes and suddenly asked, "Yen Yen, didn't you want to get another pet?" Su Yiyan seemed to have woken up from a dream. She hurriedly nodded and said, "Oh yes, I want to raise another pet. This fish that Grandpa caught is really beautiful. It's bright red and golden just like a koi. Why don't I just take it back and raise it as a pet? Once it grew up, it could also be eaten, killing 2 birds with 1 stone." The grandpas on the side were speechless. What the F***ck? Grandpa Li was also stunned. When he came back to his senses, he was as sour as a lemon. Look at Grandpa Li's granddaughter and son-in-law, then look at his own unfilial sons and grandsons. The father and son of the Li family, whose reputation was ruined every day, sneered. "Who's talking bad about us behind our backs again?" Old Master Cheng didn't expect that the person who helped him out in the end would be Huo Chenhuan. He raised his eyebrows and gave her a look of praise. Huo Chenhuan replied with a polite smile, concealing his achievements and fame. Chapter 640. Since Yen Yen likes it, let's find a water tank and put the fish in the yard. Okay. Su Yiyan nodded. Then she seemed to think of something. Her eyes turned and fell precisely on the 2 fish in the 2 grandfathers' buckets. "Grandpa Deng and Grandpa Fan's fish are quite big. Why don't we have some boiled fish for lunch? I couldn't treat you grandfathers to a meal yesterday, so I can make up for it today. I just don't know if you grandfathers would be willing to do me the honor?" As soon as Su Yiyan said this, their eyes lit up. We're willing. Anyway, we have nothing to do, so we can take advantage of this opportunity to gather. Yes. It's rare for Yin Yin to come back. How can we not do him the honor? We can take advantage of this opportunity to taste Yin Yin's cooking. You don't know how good your cooking skills are these few months that old man Cheng has been talking to us about. It has made us old men drool. That's right. This rotten old man is very bad. He knows that we can't eat it, but he still deliberately wants us to eat it. Su Yiyan listened to their complaints about her grandfather and couldn't help but laugh. Then these 2 fish were bought by me and the 2 grandfathers. By what? As soon as she finished speaking, Grandpa Cheng interrupted her with dissatisfaction. It's just 2 fish. They're eating and drinking for free in our family. How can they have the nerve to ask you for money? Su Yiyan disagreed and called out to him. Grandpa Deng and Grandpa Fan agreed with Grandpa Cheng's words. The fish looked rare, but even if they brought it home, the kitchen staff at home might not be able to make it as delicious as Su Yiyan's. In this way, they were the ones who had the advantage. Old man Cheng is right. These fish were caught in your backyard. It's your family's fish. The 2 of us old men aren't down to the point where we have to haggle with someone of your generation for 2 fish. Besides, we have big appetites. These 2 fish may not be enough for us. It looks like we're the ones who have the advantage. Since they were already like this, Su Yiyan could no longer insist. Old Master Cheng glanced at the 2 of them with appreciation. At least he didn't mind them coming over to freeload. Then he turned his gaze to Grandpa Li and said meaningfully, "As for you?" Although he didn't finish his words, his eyes were clearly mocking him. At least he contributed 2 fish. What about you? He was just a freeloader. Grandpa Li's heart was pierced by an arrow once again. Heart, do you think I care about your free food? It's all because your granddaughter's culinary skills are too good. After trying it once, everything else is tasteless. Moreover, other than Old Man Fan and Old Man Fan, he wasn't the only one who didn't contribute. How could they pick on him alone? They were really going too far. Grandpa Li's heart was full of anger, but he couldn't say anything because he was in the wrong. He could only sulk alone. Grandpa Deng and Grandpa Fan, who had made some basic contributions, became more confident and asked Su Yiyan about the spicy boiled fish just now. Yin Yin, was your spicy boiled fish good? Was it steamed, braised, or made into soup? Was it as good as the braised food you made yesterday? Grandpa Fan couldn't help but swallow. Yin Yin, the braised food you made yesterday was really good. My eldest son's grandson usually has to be forced to eat. Last night, with the braised food, he actually drank an extra bowl of porridge. He didn't even need to be forced to eat. Chapter 641. Yes. Yesterday when I took it home, my family immediately chased after me to fight for it. If I hadn't acted fast, I'm afraid they wouldn't have left a single piece of it for me. When Grandpa Li heard Grandpa Deng's words, he immediately thought of himself who had fought with his son and grandson yesterday. Alas, in front of delicious food, this plastic grandfather-grandson relationship and plastic father-son relationship. Although the braised food is delicious, it's easy to get heaty if you eat too much. Boiled fish isn't steamed or braised. Although there's some soup, it can also be eaten with rice. Compared to the braised food, each has its own merits. Everyone has different tastes, so naturally the dishes they like are different. I'll cook more dishes later. More dishes, more choices. They didn't have many requirements for what to eat as long as it was delicious. Hearing Su Yiyan's words, he smiled and nodded. Okay. Then we'll have to trouble you, Yin Yin. We're fine with anything. We're not picky. Old Master Cheng's eyebrows twitched. You still have the nerve to be picky. Boiled fish had a lot of processes. In order to make it in time for lunch, Su Yiyan immediately took the 2 fish and left. When he entered the kitchen, he found that Huo Chenhuan had followed him in. Why did you come in? I'll be your assistant. You? Su Yiyan stared at him in surprise for a long time, as if she wanted to see a trace of a joke from his face. Unfortunately, she was disappointed. Huo Chenhuan was very serious. He didn't seem to be joking at all. I have to take care of you before. He really didn't know how to cook, but he could help. Su Yiyan understood what he meant. Amused, she felt a little warm. Thinking that she didn't plan to broadcast these days, it wasn't a big deal to have one more person to help in the kitchen. But Su Yiyan looked up and down at Huo Chenhuan. This person probably hadn't even entered the kitchen a few times. He hadn't even touched anything. He really didn't do anything. It was okay to let him help you manage the company and talk about cooperation, but to let him help you cook, Su Yiyan weighed the pros and cons and chose the simplest thing for him. Help me wash some rice. It's in the rice vat over there. There are a lot of people today, so we have to cook more. That box inside 4 boxes should be enough. Hua Chenhuan accepted the task and nodded solemnly. She picked up the pot and walked towards the rice vat. Su Yiyan felt that washing the rice should be a simple task, so he didn't care too much and began to kill the fish. With the enhancement of his knife skills, Su Yiyan quickly removed the scales and cut open the belly of the 2 fishes. However, he found that there was no movement behind him. He turned around and saw Hua Chenhuan standing in front of the faucet with a big pot of rice. She was about to squeeze some detergent into it. Wait. Su Yiyan exclaimed and pulled Hua Chenhuan back before she could squeeze the detergent into the pot. Huh. Hua Chenhuan was shocked by Su Yiyan's shout. Her face was blank. Su Yiyan took a deep breath and felt that his heart was about to jump out. Rice can't be washed with detergent. Just wash it with water 3 or 4 times to get rid of the dregs inside. Hua Chenhuan was silent for a while and was a little worried. Can it be washed clean like this? Yes. The rice isn't dirty. Washing it a few times is enough. Since Su Yiyan had already said so, Hua Chenhuan didn't continue to argue. She carefully added water and began to rub the rice. Looking at how serious he was, he probably had to rub half of the rice before he could cook it. Su Yiyan? Forget it. It's rare for him to be in such a good mood. He can wash it however he wants. Chapter 642. Su Yiyan's eyes were full of smiles as she watched a certain someone's clumsy action of washing the rice. With this lesson in mind, Su Yiyan did not dare to give Hua Chenhuan any complicated tasks. She forced him to wash the vegetables in the kitchen for the whole morning. Su Yiyan observed Hua Chenhuan's movements while cutting the 2 fish into even thin slices. It was not that Hua Chenhuan had never seen Su Yiyan display her knife skills in the live broadcast room, but watching through the screen and watching it live felt different. Moreover, Su Yiyan would usually prepare the ingredients in advance before starting the live broadcast. There were not many opportunities to watch her display her knife skills in the live broadcast room. Now that she saw it, she was a little stunned. Su Yiyan finally finished the several kilograms of fish slices. She turned her head to look at Hua Chenhuan worriedly. She was caught off guard by the other party's surprised gaze. What's wrong? Why are you looking at me like that? Even though Hua Chenhuan was caught peeking, a look of embarrassment and guilt flashed across his face. Nothing. Is there anything else I can help you with? You finished washing the vegetables? Su Yiyan leaned over to take a look at the various vegetables that were not only washed but also neatly folded. Tieske, this outstanding person really learned everything quickly. She was clearly worried about the pot of rice just a moment ago, but she was already proficient in it. There's nothing else for the time being. If you're bored, you can go out first. You can walk around, or you can go to Grandpa's place to watch them fish. Hua Chenhuan said without thinking, I want to watch you cook. Su Yiyan was stunned and blushed slightly. There's a lot of smoke in the kitchen. I'm far away, but you're close. The underlying meaning was that she was not afraid even though she was so close. She was just standing on the side and watching. How could she be worse than her? All right then, Hua Chenhuan insisted, and Su Yiyan did not continue to persuade her. Before cooking the spicy boiled fish, Su Yiyan took out the fish fillet and deep-fried it as usual. After that, he cooked the fish fillets and various vegetables until it was fragrant. Among the 2 fish, one of them had a particularly large head. Su Yiyan seemed to think for a while as he processed the fish. In the end, he decided to leave the head of this fish alone to make steamed fish head with diced hot red peppers. Boiled fish and braised fish were both relatively heaty dishes. Su Yiyan was worried that the elderly wouldn't know how to control themselves after eating for the first time and would easily get heaty, so he stewed a pot of dendrobium stewed fresh abalone and boiled some Ophiophagon bamboo leaf tea to reduce heatiness. Considering that there were more people eating at home today, Su Yiyan's dishes were much more sumptuous than yesterday's. Other than the steamed fish head with diced hot red peppers, spicy boiled fish, and braised fish, he also made some relatively light dishes like tofu tossed with scallions, mushu pork, dry stir-fried green beans and wine-fermented meatballs. Bursts of delicious food drifted out of the kitchen, attracting the stomachs of the elderly who were pretending to continue fishing in the backyard. They became more and more absent-minded. When it was finally time for lunch, the sound of shouting came from the front. The few of them immediately threw away the fishing rods in their hands and rushed forward. They were afraid that if they fell behind, they would not be able to eat good food. As soon as the few of them sat down, Dishes that they had never seen before came out of the kitchen like flowing water. They were placed in front of them, exuding a strong aroma. Gulp! The few elderly who did not eat much in the morning could not help but swallow their saliva. When they realized what they had done, they subconsciously looked at the few people beside them with embarrassed expressions. Chapter 643. This was the scene that Su Yiyan and Huo Chenhuan saw when they came out of the kitchen. A few old people, whose ages added up to a few hundred years old, surrounded a large table of dishes and looked at each other in dismay. Without the two of them present, no one dared to be the first to pick up their chopsticks. Their eager looks looked a little pitiful. Su Yiyan laughed and turned to look at Huo Chenhuan. Then she quickly walked to old Master Cheng's side. "Grandpa, everyone is here. It's time to eat." Old Master Cheng was slightly startled. He knew that his granddaughter was giving him face and letting him be the host. He immediately straightened his back and coughed lightly. "All right, since everyone is here, let's eat while it's hot." How could the others not understand the grandfather and granddaughter's actions? They couldn't help but feel sour in their hearts. But soon they weren't in the mood to admire the excellence of other people's children. The large table of dishes in front of them had already attracted all their attention. Although Su Yiyan made a lot of dishes, there were also many people eating together today. At first, they were still thinking about their status as guests and didn't dare to be too presumptuous. Later, as they ate, they revealed their true colors and started arguing with old Master Cheng at the table. Like children, after quarreling for a while, they began to snatch each other's food. "If you snatch one from me, I'll snatch one from you." Su Yiyan's dishes were already delicious. After fighting with all their might, the few people who ate the food were flushed red and almost caused a scene in the martial arts school. Su Yiyan seemed to be used to this. She pulled Huo Chenhuan to sit at the side and watched the scuffle while adding food for Huo Chenhuan. "Try this spicy boiled fish. The meat is fresh and there are fewer bones. It's better than the ones we've eaten before. It's not good to eat the same thing all the time. Next time I'll get someone to make some pickled vegetables. It's also pretty good to make spicy boiled fish." Su Yiyan thought for a while. "Or we can make spicy boiled fish, sweet and sour fish, fish hot pot. Anyway, even if it's the same ingredients, there are many ways to cook them. We'll eat them one by one and see which one you like." "Mm," Huo Chenhuan replied in a low voice. She then pursed her lips and whispered, "Lobster." "Lobster?" Su Yiyan was stunned for a moment, but she quickly realized that he was asking about other ways to make lobsters. She smiled faintly and said, "There are many ways to make lobsters. Other than the spicy lobster that I've made for you a few times before, you can also make 13-spice lobster, minced garlic lobster, steamed lobster, and oil stick lobster. If you're curious, I can also try making drunken prawns, soy sauce prawns." Su Yiyan was busy explaining the 108 ways to cook lobsters to her man. However, she saw him looking at her with a subtle expression and giving her a meaningful look. Su Yiyan blinked and turned his head to look. Suddenly, he met the bright eyes of the people at the table. "So that ugly lobster can be cooked in so many ways? My family's chef only knows how to boil it in water and then scoop it up. Although it's still edible, it always feels like something is missing." Yes. It's the same for my family. I've only eaten it once and haven't eaten it since. Now that I heard what Yan said, I suddenly want to eat it. "How about," they looked at each other and said in unison, "let's eat this tomorrow." "Su Yiyan, you guys are really not polite at all." Old Master Cheng's face darkened. "What? Do you really think my family's Yan is your family's chef? Just this meal. After eating, scram. If you dare to have any ideas about my family's Yan again, I'll hammer you to death." Chapter 644. The others weren't happy to hear that. "Old man Cheng, that's too much. How could we possibly think of Yan as a cook? We're just curious. We're curious about the food Yan ate just now." Yes. We're just curious, that's all." Grandpa Li wasn't as reserved as the others. He immediately exposed old man Cheng's intentions. Don't think I don't know. You're acting all high and mighty because you want to eat all the food for yourself. So what if I eat all the food for myself? Yan is my granddaughter, not yours. Why should she cook for you?" "Old man Cheng, I knew you were angry, but I didn't expect you to be this angry." The elders instantly started fighting again. Su Yiyan managed to escape. She exchanged a look with Huo Chenhuan and heaved a huge sigh of relief. Although they were arguing, they didn't slow down their eating speed at all. In less than half an hour, the table's worth of food was all in their stomachs. They were so full that the elders in their 70s and 80s had to help each other out for a walk to digest the food. That night, Grandpa Li's son came home and looked at his father with a complicated expression. He asked tentatively, "Dad, did you stay at Uncle Cheng's for lunch today?" Grandpa Li raised his eyebrows and said fiercely, "So what if I did? Do I have to report to you that I'm going to eat at someone else's house?" "That's not what I meant." Grandpa Li glared at him. "Then what do you mean?" "I just want to ask if you can bring me along the next time you go?" "Grandpa Li?" Grandpa Li's eldest grandson's eyes lit up when he heard his father's words. Unwilling to be outdone, he said, I want it too. Bring me along too." Grandpa Li, your father, grandfather, had to give up his pride and put in a lot of effort just to get a free meal. How could he bring along a bunch of useless burdens like you? Dream on. Get lost. The same thing was happening in the other grandfathers' homes as well, almost leading to the tragedy of a few of them being murdered. After the Pengxi incident that day, Hui restaurant went to Su Yiyan 2 or 3 more times. Almost all of them were asking for cooperation. Of course they were ignored by Su Yiyan. Apart from that, the Ancient Earth Cultural Research Institute also tried to send Su Yiyan a private message. They wanted to discuss cultural matters with her, but Su Yiyan declined. She was very clear about her own abilities. Most of the skills that the system gave her were in the field of medicine, and these ancient books were just incidental. If she were to really communicate with these professionals, she was afraid that she would be showing off her skills in front of an expert. However, their search reminded Su Yiyan of another matter. After Luo Baoging took over Red Brave, the production crew had already started working overtime to prepare the props and audition for the actors. At this stage in Su Yiyan's company, only Ning Chirue had unexpectedly won the role of the second male lead. The other main roles were still vacant for the time being, especially the male and female lead roles. Shui Kaiwei and Luo Weibing had already booked the male and female lead roles in Fantasy Feast, so it was impossible for them to take on this role. It was not that there were no talents in this field in the company, but there were not many of them. She did not know who would benefit in the end. However, no matter who was chosen in the end, according to Luo Baoging and his wife, it was best for the female lead to learn the basics from Madame Luo for a few months before filming the parts that involved professional skills. Chapter 645. Of course, that was not the case. In the next few months, the crew would simply stop filming and wait for her to finish learning. Instead, they would move all the professional drama-related scenes to the back and let the female lead film other scenes first. She would learn as she filmed. But this meant that she would be very busy and tired in the next few months. At the very least, they had to choose a talented talent who was hardworking, could endure hardships and had acting skills. Su Yiyan could not help with Luo Baoging, but Su Yiyan still had a professional drama book that she had previously drawn. However, although she had drawn this book, it was something provided by the system and could not be taken out directly from the system backpack. Su Yiyan had no choice but to spend a few days copying the contents of the book and sending it to Song Linghua. To the outside world, it was only a copy of the book that was treasured at home. It was not easy to take it out, so she could only make a copy for her. Even so, Song Linghua was very surprised when she received it. She secretly rejoiced that she had accepted the role of consultant for the crew. Otherwise, such a priceless treasure would have fallen into someone else's hands. Song Linghua was not someone who did not know how to return the favor. After taking Su Yiyan's book, she immediately said that when the female lead was decided, she would teach her well and would not let down the book. Su Yiyan and Song Linghua stayed in the Qing family for about a week before Old Master Jiang brought Jiang Qingwang and Jiang Qing over. It just so happened that Old Master Jiang's friend's residence was not far from the Qing family's residence. They could reach it in about half an hour by car. Considering that there was a pregnant woman at home, it was not convenient for the Jiang family to come over. Su Yiyan simply set the treatment location at the house where the Jiang family was temporarily staying. If Su Yiyan wanted to go, Hua Chenhuan naturally had to follow. After all, a certain brat had previously wanted to give his life to Su Yiyan in front of them. If he did not go with them, what if his wife was bullied there? When Su Yiyan and Heir Ran arrived, the first person who ran out to greet them was a 15 or 16-year-old brother with a young and delicate face. At first, Su Yiyan thought that he was Old Master Jiang's friend, the child of the real owner of the house, or a relative of the Jiang family. Then the child reached out and touched his own hair, looking at Su Yiyan as if he was asking for credit. You. Su Yiyan's mind flashed and he pointed at the person in front of him in surprise. Don't you recognize me? I'm the one from last time. That green-haired guy from last time. Su Yiyan silently accepted the child's words in his heart. He looked at him from top to bottom and carefully sized him up. Not only had this child dyed his hair back, but his hairstyle had also changed. It was no longer the blunt hairstyle that he had seen the last time. Instead, it had been cut diagonally in front of his head, making him look fashionable and bright. Without the smoky makeup, her facial features looked a little immature, but she had the advantage of being delicate and upright. The most important thing was that this child's skin was white, the kind that girls would be jealous of. Coupled with the white shirt and black pants, he did not look like the arrogant and heroic young man from before. He looked like a good boy with a white face. How did you? The impact of a non-mainstream and rebellious young man suddenly becoming sunny and fresh was so great that Su Yiyan did not react for a long time. Hua Qinhuan's face darkened. His intuition told him that this idiotic bastard was deliberately pretending to be obedient to attract his wife's attention. Chapter 646. Without the smoky makeup covering his face, Jiang Qingwang seemed to be a little shy. When Su Yiyan looked at him like that, his face instantly turned red. And because his face was pale, his entire face couldn't escape the redness. In the blink of an eye, his entire face turned red. It was very obvious. Didn't you tell me that my hair was too ugly and that I dyed it back? I dyed it back. But after I dyed it back, it looked very strange with my original clothes, so I changed it into this look. Upon hearing that, Su Yiyan walked around Jiang Qingwang in a circle and clicked her tongue in wonder. It seems that my aesthetic standards are still normal. Look at you. You've only changed your hairstyle and clothes, but your entire appearance has changed. With your current appearance, you'll definitely attract a lot of attention when you go to school, right? If you changed back to your previous appearance, it would be good enough if girls didn't avoid you, let alone take a few more glances at you. When Jiang Qingwang heard Su Yiyan's teasing, his already red face turned even redder, like a tomato that could burn at any time. Su Yiyan looked at him curiously and blankly. Why are you blushing? I'm like this. I blush easily. After that, Jiang Qingwang glanced at Hua Qinhuan and added with a strong desire to survive, I'm like this to everyone, not just you. Little did he know that his glance had a completely different meaning in Hua Qinhuan's eyes. As expected, this bastard had ulterior motives for his wife. He dared to be so coy and scheming in front of him. How bold. But last time you... Su Yiyan originally thought, you weren't so shy last time. You were very bold when you bared your fangs and brandished your claws. But then she remembered that when Jiang Qingwang went to their house last time, the makeup on his face was so thick that she could dig out 1/2 kilogram of white flour. But although the makeup was thick, Su Yiyan still had a deep impression of his Chinibu appearance when he wasn't wearing it. Could it be? Don't tell me you're so shy that you purposely put on that non-mainstream look so that people won't notice your pretty face? Jiang Qingwang was exposed. His whole body stiffened for a moment, but he still admitted to Su Yiyan's method and tried to save his dignity. Don't you think that it's very cool? I don't think so. Su Yiyan was not stupid. She had already guessed the truth from Jiang Qingwang's guilty and evasive gaze. He secretly sighed in his heart. Sure enough, you can't judge a book by its cover. This white lotus may be hiding a scheming B***th under her skin. Similarly, some fiendish delinquents may also be a real white rabbit under their skin. When Hua Qinhuan heard this, she could not help but cough softly. She interrupted the conversation between the two and reminded, Yan, old Master Jiang and Sister Jiang are still waiting inside. Let's go in first. After being reminded by him, Su Yiyan also remembered the important matter. She temporarily suppressed her curiosity about Rao and nodded. All right, we're here to look for your sister. Jiang Qingwang saw that Su Yiyan did not continue to stare at him. He breathed a sigh of relief and said, Grandpa and my sister have been waiting for you inside for a long time. Please. Su Yiyan nodded and pulled Hua Qinhuan inside. When Hua Qinhuan passed by Jiang Qingwang, she coldly glanced at him, full of warning. Jiang Qingwang? What was going on? Old Master Jiang was indeed waiting for the two inside. When he saw the two enter, his eyes lit up. He was about to approach them when he saw the two of them. But then, he saw the cold face of the son of an aristocratic family. What was going on? His face was so ugly. Could it be that his unfilial grandson had caused trouble again? Jiang Qingwang. He was wronged. Chapter 647. Su Yiyan didn't notice the brief confrontation between the men. Her attention had been on Jiang Qingrun since she entered the room. How are you feeling recently? Pretty good. Jiang Qingrun seemed to be a little fatter than before and her face was ruddy. In addition to the medicinal cuisine sent by Su Yiyan, it should also be because she saw the hope of recovery and her mood improved. It's just a little sore occasionally. It's not very painful, just a little. I don't want to get up. With Hua Qinhuan's experience, Su Yiyan could probably understand what she meant. She smiled and comforted her. This is normal. Your muscles are slowly recovering and you have feeling. This process may take some time. You have to take it slowly. I know. Jiang Qingruan's eyes were very bright. Compared with her previous ignorance, she preferred this kind of pain. This kind of feeling made her feel that she was still alive, not a disabled waste who couldn't do anything or feel anything. I'll give you another acupuncture today. Do you still have the medicine packs I gave you before? It's best not to stop the medicinal bath. It's fixed once a week. When your symptoms are better, you can stop. There are still a few packs. 1 pack a week should be enough for another month. That's good. Su Yiyan asked Jiang Qingrun some other questions. Then the two of them entered the room and treated her one-on-one. Hua Qinhuan and the Jiang family's grandfather and grandson were left outside. After a short silence, Hua Qinhuan broke the silence first. Is this child of yours still studying? Old Master Jiang was stunned. He really didn't understand why he asked this. He nodded stiffly. Yes, she just went to high school. High school? Hua Qinhuan pondered. It's a good time to study. Yes. At this stage, studying should be the priority. Don't always think about messy things to distract you. Old Master Jiang's eyes were confused. Messy things? Hua Qinhuan's eyes were slightly cold. For example, puppy love. Jiang Qingwang? Old Master Jiang? Puppy love? After a brief shock, Old Master Jiang raised his voice unconsciously. You're in love at such a young age? Jiang Qingwang almost choked. How is that possible? I've never held a girl's hand before. How could I be in a relationship at such a young age? Besides, I'm not in the mood to date right now. Old Master Jiang couldn't help but heave a sigh of relief. Indeed, his eldest granddaughter's leg hadn't even been cured yet, so how could his grandson be in the mood to engage in love? Hua Qinhuan's face darkened when she heard what he said. She looked even more dangerous. You're not in the mood to date now, but you will be in the future? Jiang Qingwang thought to himself, nonsense, I don't want to be a single dog for the rest of my life. As long as my sister is well, I will definitely be in the mood to fall in love. Otherwise, am I going to be single for the rest of my life? However, when he saw Hua Qinhuan's inexplicably dangerous gaze, Jiang Qingwang wisely chose to remain silent. Sob, so scary. Is he asking me to choose between keeping my life and falling in love? What enmity? Did I provoke you by falling in love? However, Old Master Jiang was a shrewd person. He quickly figured out the crux of the matter. He didn't know whether to laugh or cry. It's indeed wrong for a child to fall in love at such a young age. At your current age, studying is the most important thing. If you want to fall in love, you have to go back to school at least 10 years later. Chapter 648. 10 years later? Jiang Qingwang was shocked. That was too long. Old Master Jiang narrowed his eyes and said with a fierce face, What do you mean long? 10 years later is just right. You're not even fully grown yet you want to hook up with girls. If something really goes wrong, can you bear the responsibility? That's all I have to say today. If you dare to fall in love at such a young age or secretly mess with an adult girl's belly, I won't have a grandson like you. Pack up your things and get out of here. Jiang Qingwang. Falling in love is like collapsing. Is it necessary? It's really too difficult for me. Old Master Jiang also knew that his words were a little harsh, but he also understood that this was the only way to eliminate someone's wariness of his grandson. After all, a man's possessiveness was sometimes quite a scary thing. My dear grandson, you can suffer a little and fall in love later. Grandpa is also trying to save your life. As expected, Hua Qinhuan nodded his head in satisfaction after hearing what he said. 10 years later, this guy wouldn't covet his wife anymore. Maybe his and his wife's baby would be able to come out on its own. Su Yiyan didn't know that while he was treating Jiang Qingrun inside, Hu Chenhuan easily solved a fake love burden outside. The two stayed in the room for about an hour before coming out. Old Master Jiang wanted to invite Su Yiyan and Jiang Qingrun to gather together. Hu Chenhuan refused without thinking and quickly left Ji Rao Villa with Su Yiyan. As soon as Su Yiyan went out, he noticed that something was wrong with him. He blinked and asked with confusion and concern, "What happened? Did they make you angry? When you came out just now you kept staring at that bastard. When he came he kept staring at him. When he left he still stared at him." Hu Chenhuan's stomach was full of jealousy and jealousy. Bastard? Su Yiyan was stunned for a few seconds and didn't know whether to laugh or cry. You mean Jiang Qinhuan? Hu Chenhuan pursed her lips and said in a hoarse voice, "Last time, you looked at him because of his green hair. The underlying meaning was that he didn't have a head full of green hair today, so why was he still looking? The last time I saw him it was indeed because of his green hair. Today I thought it was magical at first. Hairstyles and makeup can really change a person. With such a big change of course I couldn't help but take a few more glances. As for looking at him afterwards." Su Yiyan hugged Hu Chenhuan's arm and laughed. "Do you think I can make money by signing him to East City? You want to sign him to your company?" "That's right. Don't you think he's pretty good looking? My company is currently in need of talents." Hu Chenhuan didn't wait for Su Yiyan to finish before interrupting her. "It seems that you have quite a few artists in your company." Su Yiyan was stunned. She did not expect Hu Chenhuan to pay attention to this. "Yes, there are quite a few. But it's too simplistic." "Single?" "Yes, although there are many artists in my company it's too simplistic. And most of them are in their early 20s so the roles they take are limited. Like Luo Weibing, Ning Chirui they're all okay now but what about in 10 or 20 years? Su Yiyan paused here and sighed. Generations of people in the company walk their own path. The original position naturally needs to be replaced by generations of people. It's like a person who wants to live. It's useless to keep circulating without fresh blood. Chapter 649. The entertainment industry had always been a fast-changing industry. If there was a lack of new talent and cash flow problems, the company could declare bankruptcy. For this reason, Su Yiyan could only find more potential newcomers to ensure that the company could continue to improve. As the saying goes, learning is like sailing against the current. If you don't move forward, you'll fall behind. It was the same when it came to doing business. She didn't want the company that she was going to build to be a short-lived success in the entertainment industry. Su Yiyan was fine, but Hu Chenhuan's face darkened. It seemed that his potential love rivals were not only that brat, but also a male celebrity from a big company. Anyone who could become a celebrity, even if they did not have any other abilities, at least had to have a slightly better face. Hu Chenhuan was alarmed that his wife was surrounded by such a group of handsome men. Su Yiyan saw that Hu Chenhuan's face didn't turn better after he said that. Instead it turned even uglier. He couldn't help but look a little confused. Did I do something wrong? No. Then why are you still unhappy? Hu Chenhuan was silent for a moment before he understood what he meant. Are you trying to coax me? Su Yiyan looked calm. You're unhappy. Of course I have to coax you. Hu Chenhuan frowned. His intuition told him that something was wrong. Usually it wasn't the man who coaxed the woman. Why was it the other way around? Su Yiyan was happy that Hu Chenhuan's attention was diverted. His face didn't look as ugly as before, but he still wanted to know why he was unhappy just now. But you have to tell me first. Why were you unhappy just now? Is it because I looked at Jiang Qinhuan a few more times and you're worried that I'll fall for him? I'm not worried that you'll fall for him. Hu Chenhuan turned to look at Su Yiyan. He had never doubted Su Yiyan's feelings for him, but I don't like you looking at him like that. It's not just him. I don't like you looking at other men besides me. Not even my father, my brother, my grandfather, and my uncle? Except for family. Okay. Su Yiyan breathed a sigh of relief and teased, then I won't look at other men anymore. I'll only look at you, okay? Hu Chenhuan's tense body relaxed a little. He asked in a hoarse voice, don't you think that I'm too nosy? If you don't care about me, I'll be worried. You're right. I didn't do this. Finding artists should be left to Brother Junxing and the others. Although I'm the boss of a company, I'm still considered an outsider. Whether or not they have potential, whether or not their looks pass the mark, and how they will be arranged in the future, we still have to bring them in to understand them personally. Su Yiyan looked into Hu Chenhuan's eyes and said, I will call Brother Junxing in a while and ask him to contact Jiang Qingwang. I just don't know what his intentions are. Also, I wonder if old Master Jiang will refuse to let him enter this circle. After all, the Jiang family was a rich family. They might not be willing to let a rich second-generation young master enter the entertainment circle and become a star. Hua Chenhua knew that Su Yiyan was giving in for him. The unhappiness in his heart dissipated a lot. He muttered, "If he's willing, the old master won't interfere." How can you be so sure? The Jiang family seems to have some wealth on the surface. In fact, old Master Jiang's son has been drinking outside these years. The woman he married later gave birth to a son, who stirred up trouble at home. Chapter 650. The current Jiang family seems to be well off, but in fact, it's weak on the inside. It won't be able to achieve anything. Only old Master Jiang can still say a few words in the Hua Corporation. Otherwise, this family would have been devoured by others long ago. Su Yiyan still didn't understand. But if that's the case, shouldn't old Master Jiang train this grandson well? Or does he prefer that woman's son? But after thinking about it carefully, she felt that it was unlikely. After all, the few times they met, old Master Jiang had brought the two siblings. Except for the neighbor once, he had never mentioned his son, the woman he married later, and their son. Thinking about it, he probably didn't like them very much. Hua Chenhuan frowned and said with disdain, "He's too much." "Too much? That sister of his can be trained. If he can enter your company, it will be better." Hua Chenhuan seemed to be a little worried that Su Yiyan didn't understand, so she added, "Entering your company means that he is under my protection. The woman next to old Master Jiang's son has something to do with Hua Qihan." "Something to do with Hua Qihan?" Su Yiyan was shocked. "Do you mean that old Master Jiang's son supports Hua Qihan?" "Yes. If not for this, Hua Chenhuan wouldn't have approached old Master Jiang. With old Master Jiang around, no matter how his son was influenced by that woman, he wouldn't be able to set off any big waves." Su Yiyan also understood that the Jiang family's filial son was obviously not on the same side as old Master Jiang. If old Master Jiang really supported Hua Chenhuan, this piece of trash and the three stepmothers would ruthlessly control the Jiang siblings and threaten old Master Jiang to give in at the last minute. Jiang Qingrun was fine. After all, she was a few years older. When her leg was cured, she would at least have the ability to protect herself. On the other hand, Jiang Qingwang looked stupid and was very easy to deceive. After figuring out the reason, Su Yiyan didn't continue to dwell on it. She called Xia Junxing to clarify the situation and gave him full authority to deal with it. As time passed, Hua Chenhuan's birthday approached. As early as half a month ago, Su Yiyan had been secretly preparing Hua Chenhuan's birthday gift when Zhang Boqi started this matter. However, it was not difficult to prepare a gift. The difficult part was how to give him a surprise on his birthday. For the past few days, Hua Chenhuan had been accompanying Su Yiyan and was inseparable from her. Su Yiyan could not think of a way to send her away, so she could only ask her uncle, Gu Xiaoyang, and the others for help. After some discussion, they decided to come up with a reason to call him out of his house. Coincidentally, Qin Shueru was going to the hospital for a checkup. Qing Juanhao would definitely accompany her. After the couple arrived at the hospital, they simply called Hua Chenhuan and told him that there was no problem with their company and they urgently needed someone from their family to send a document over. The document was on the table in his room. He was now in the hospital with Qin Shueru for a checkup and couldn't leave. Could he help to send it over? Hua Chenhuan was free at home, so he naturally wouldn't refuse such a request. He immediately took the document and went out. After arriving at the company, he was stopped by several senior executives who had been informed by Cheng Juanhao. He couldn't go back for a while, so Su Yiyan had time to arrange. Considering that Hua Chenhuan might come back at any time and their time was limited, Su Yiyan entrusted the decoration of the house to Aunt Feng and several servants at home. She went into the kitchen and prepared to perform well. Chapter 651. As for what to eat on a birthday, it was nothing more than cake, longevity noodles, and other delicacies that were full of blessings. Considering that the cake would take a long time to bake, Hua Chenhuan hurried into the kitchen and turned on the one-way recording function of the live broadcast. "Hello everyone, I'm the host, Yin Yin. Today is my husband's birthday and I want to prepare a special surprise for him. So today I'm only recording and not broadcasting. In addition, After this recording is released, 3 lucky audience members will be selected in the comments section to give gifts. The lucky draw date will be tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. Those who are interested can participate. Although there was no live broadcast, Su Yiyan tried to explain the ins and outs of the matter as much as possible. The difficulty of making a cake was how to make the cake embryo smoothly rise. Su Yiyan used low-gluten flour and mixed in eggs and baking powder. Su Yiyan wanted to make a 3-layer cake, so he simply made 3 molds and baked them together. Fortunately, the Cheng family's oven was big enough, so it wasn't difficult to bake 3 molds at once. While baking the cake embryo, Su Yiyan didn't stay idle and began to make other food. Now let's make the wife cake that I promised you before. The filling of the wife cake is winter melon. As the name suggests, winter melon is made from winter melon. Peel the winter melon, remove the seeds, steam it until it's cooked, then use a blender to beat it into a paste. After that, filter the water and add sugar to stir-fry. After stir-frying, take out the pan and let it cool. In order to make the filling more fragrant, you can add some melon seeds and sesame seeds when stir-frying. Su Yiyan had steamed the winter melon while making the cake embryo, so now it was just right to take it out and stir it. After making the filling as quickly as possible, it was time to wrap the outer layer of the filling. In order to make the outer layer of the cake crispy and delicious after baking, 2 different kinds of dough were needed. One was called the oil core and the other was called the surface layer. After wrapping the oil core with the surface layer, press it flat, roll it from the outside to the inside into a spring roll, press it flat again and turn it into 3 layers. Finally, like rolling dumplings, the dough was rolled into the surface layer to wrap the filling. Finally, he brushed a layer of egg liquid on top of the wrapped pie and sprinkled sesame seeds to ensure that the pie was more beautiful and appetizing. It was indeed a little troublesome to make, but it was precisely because it was troublesome that the pastry inside would have layers upon layers after it was baked, making it thin and soft. Su Yiyan made dozens of wife-flavored biscuits and put them in the bottom layer of the oven to bake. Then he wiped his hands and continued with a smile. Previously, when I was making dried Wuxia shredded pork, I saw many of my audience members asking me if there were any similar dishes that didn't use this ingredient but had this name. Since everyone has asked, I'll take this opportunity to make a few more for everyone. First of all, the first ingredient is called husband and wife lung slice. This dish is amazing. From the name you can tell that this is a dish developed by a couple. However, it's called lung slice but it doesn't use lung slice. Instead it uses beef scalp, beef heart, beef tongue, tripe and beef. Husband and wife lung slice was actually a cold dish. First, these ingredients were braised and cut into slices. Then a series of seasonings were added, stirred and placed on a plate. Su Yiyan's knife skills were somewhat effective in making this dish. The thickness of the ingredients that were cut was even, and the plate was especially beautiful. In addition, this dish was tender and fresh, spicy and fragrant. It just so happened to be Ho Chinwan's favorite flavor. When the time came, it should be able to gain the favor of the birthday girl. Chapter 652. In addition to the chili lung slice, there's another dish called saliva chicken. The so-called saliva chicken doesn't have saliva in it, but because of the spicy taste, it will make people's mouth numb and they will unconsciously secrete saliva, Su Yiyan said as she took out a yellow chicken that had been plucked clean and put it into the pot to cook. This dish is also a cold dish, so you need to cook the chicken first. But remember not to cook it for too long, or the chicken will become old and fall apart easily. After cooking for about 10 minutes, you can take out the chicken and put it into cold water to cool. This step is to ensure the tightness of the chicken and make its skin delicate and tender. After that, she added various kinds of sauces and poured them over the yellow chicken, and the dish was ready. The last dish is the vermicelli, called sautéed vermicelli with spicy minced pork. Of course, it's not eaten by boiling ants, but the minced meat inside is very minced. After being fried with the vermicelli, it looks like ants climbing on the vermicelli, hence the name. Sautéed vermicelli with spicy minced pork with ginger and garlic was not difficult to cook. After the vermicelli was cooked, the cake base was almost ready. Su Yiyan also started to make the cream to be spread on the base. Fortunately, the Cheng family had a kitchen made with many kitchen tools, including an automatic mixer. When Su Yiyan used the blender to beat the cream, the base was also ready. Su Yiyan made the simplest fruit cream cake. After a layer of cream was spread, she mixed some fruit juice with cream of other colors and drew some patterns on the edge of the cake. Finally, she drew an especially big face on the top layer of white cream and wrote, "Happy 27th birthday to my husband." She also surrounded the cake with a circle of bright red strawberries, which looked very beautiful and had the heart of a young girl. Perfect. Su Yiyan clapped her hands with a complacent look. Oh, right, there's also the longevity noodles. Su Yiyan stared at the cake and slapped her forehead. She quickly kneaded another dough and began to make the longevity noodles. The specialty of longevity noodles was that there was only one strip of noodles in each serving. It was best not to break it when cooking, and it was best not to break it when eating. It implied a long life and a long life. This meant that the person who made this bowl of noodles had to spend some effort to increase the tenacity of the noodles, so that they wouldn't be overcooked before they were placed in front of the birthday boy. Su Yiyan pulled up the noodles as fast as she could. Just as she was about to find some ingredients to add in, she raised her head. Her mind suddenly went blank and she subconsciously fell to the side. Just as her stomach was about to hit the counter on the side, something like an airbag suddenly popped out and supported her, preventing her from bumping into anything. The dizziness only lasted for a moment. Su Yiyan quickly reacted and reached out to hold on to the cabinet on the other side to steady herself. At the same time, a sharp mechanical voice sounded in his mind. Warning, warning. It has been detected that the host is in a state of excessive fatigue. If this continues, it is likely to threaten the safety of the cubs. Please rest as soon as possible to restore your physical strength and ensure the safety of the baby. I repeat, please. Su Yiyan could no longer hear the rest of the system's words. She widened her eyes in shock, and only two words kept repeating in her muddled mind. Cubs. Was it what she thought it meant? Chapter 653. Su Yiyan was stunned for a few seconds before her expression suddenly changed. She asked in surprise and fear, System, what do you mean by that? I have a baby, right? I have a baby? How is the baby? Host, please rest assured that the baby is fine for the time being. It's just that the host's body is weak due to exhaustion, which is not conducive to the baby's good development. I advise the host to rest well during this period of time. Only by resting well can you better ensure the baby's safety and good development. When Su Yiyan heard the system's words, she felt relieved and a little scared at the same time. She reached out and touched her stomach, which had not changed. She thought about how she and Huo Qinhuan's baby was already in there, and she did not know about it at all. Just now she even, System, were you the one who protected me and the baby just now? There was no sound in her mind. Just when Su Yiyan thought there would be no response, she heard the familiar mechanical voice in her mind again. Yes. Su Yiyan's hands subconsciously tightened and she said sincerely, thank you. With such an episode, Su Yiyan naturally did not dare to stay in the kitchen and work anymore. Fortunately, all the things she needed were basically ready. The remaining longevity noodles could be cooked by Aunt Fong when Huo Qinhuan came back. Su Yiyan still found it hard to believe that she was pregnant under such circumstances. She touched her stomach and confirmed with the system several times. Fortunately, the system understood her excitement of being a mother for the first time and replied good-naturedly time and time again. Otherwise it would have been on standby. After about 10 minutes, Su Yiyan's feverish head finally cooled down a little. She began to ask about the baby in her stomach. How old is the baby? The system gave a rough time. Su Yiyan calculated. It seemed to be the night she and Huo Qinhuan were at the top of the mountain. Su Yiyan's face turned red when she thought about it. Did she overdo it for a certain someone? They had only done it a few times from the time they officially consummated their marriage until that night, and now, however, she seemed to have thought of something and her eyes narrowed. Wait a minute, system. When Qinhuan and I were doing that, could it be that you, the system was practically hiding in her body now? When she was working with Huo Qinhuan, wouldn't it be able to see everything? Was there any privacy left? The system seemed to have been rendered speechless by Su Yiyan's question. After a long while it finally replied. The system has an underage protection mode. When the host kisses his partner, the system will automatically mosaic the image of the system. If the host exceeds the limit, the system will enter dormant standby mode by default. So, your kissing is like a mosaic in my eyes and everything below the neck is on standby mode. What do you have to worry about? Do you really think I'm interested in watching your disgusting AB-18 scenes? The system is still a baby. When Su Yiyan heard the system's words, he heaved a sigh of relief. At the same time he was a little confused. Underage. How could a data system be divided into adults and minors? Since its existence, the system has been in use for less than a year. Based on this, it seemed to be even older than that stupid dog of yours. No, it was an advanced intelligence system. Why did it have to be compared to that stupid dog? Perhaps the virus had entered its brain and caused it to lose its intelligence. You're tuning in to the Han Lee's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.